It was Sunday, so Chloe could head straight back to campus after their afternoon together. Leo drove her toward a historic district near Portland State University to walk around. Chloe hadn't been in the best spirits today. A quiet melancholy had followed her all afternoon. Even when Leo tried to chat with her, her smile was strained, and she seemed to have something heavy on her mind. Of course, Leo knew exactly what was making her so anxious. It was perfectly normal for a young woman, a flower on the verge of blooming, to feel a mix of apprehension and fear about the unknown territory ahead. They hadn't even finished exploring the district when Leo decided to drive them to the Portland waterfront for a change of scenery. This kind of thing needed the right atmosphere, a mutual desire, to go perfectly. If Chloe stayed this on edge, Leo wasn't really interested anyway. He'd rather just take her back to her dorm and wait until she'd worked through it on her own. Around 7 in the evening, Leo was holding Chloe's soft hand as they strolled along the vibrantly lit waterfront. The waterfront was one of Portland's most famous spots. Standing there, you could see the skyline of downtown across the river, the towering skyscrapers reflecting off the water to create a breathtaking panorama. The river mirrored the multicolored lights of the shops and signs, looking like a silk ribbon studded with jewels, flowing slowly onward. A gentle breeze rippled across the surface, creating a dreamy, mesmerizing effect. Tourists, drawn by the view, were all holding up their phones, jockeying for the best shot. "It's getting windy. Put your jacket on," Leo said calmly, handing Chloe the coat she'd brought. "After we walk around here for a bit, I'll drive you back to campus." "Huh? Back to campus?" Chloe stopped, stunned. She had been nervously trying to figure out what she was supposed to do next, and now Leo was just going to take her back? Her emotions were a tangled mess. There was the relief of a narrow escape, the guilt of letting Leo down, and a strange emptiness from having a burgeoning curiosity snuffed out. "What else?" Leo smiled gently. "Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. I'm with you because I like you, not because I'm just trying to get in your pants. Why are you so tense?" He added, "You're a dummy. If you're not ready, I'll obviously respect that. Don't look so miserable. I like you the way you were before." "The way I was before?" Chloe blinked, looking up at him curiously. "Well," Leo said, being completely honest, "you were so bright and cheerful with that sweet voice. Like an elf princess who could heal people's hearts." That had been his first impression of her when they'd first met. An elf princess? Chloe tilted her head, not quite getting the nerdy, guy-centric reference. Still, the compliment made her happy. The thought that Leo saw her with so many wonderful labels brought a genuine smile to her face. She stopped walking, bounced in front of him, and clasped her hands behind her back. Leaning forward slightly, she lifted her delicate face, looking at him with a playful pout. "Leo, you goof. Aren't I supposed to be the one that got away? That's what all the guys on TikTok call their first love." A breeze swept in from the river, rustling through her hair. It lifted the long strands, silky and smooth, cascading down like a waterfall. The scent of her shampoo filled the air, warm and romantic. Her eyes reflected the kaleidoscope of lights around them, and her lips were curved into a sweet, expectant smile. Their gazes locked, and it felt as if time had stopped, leaving only the two of them in the entire world. Leo felt her warmth and tenderness, leaned down, and gently kissed her soft lips. Then, he reached up to smooth the strands of hair the wind had messed up. "I don't care what anyone else calls it," he said softly. "You're my elf princess, the one and only." "Fine," Chloe murmured, her lips still tingling. She looped her arm through his and smiled sweetly. "An elf princess it is. I kind of like that. So, don't get all worked up over something so small. If you don't want to, I can wait as long as it takes," Leo said, wrapping an arm around her slim waist. "I'm with you because I want to be with you. I'm not just after your body. Don't think your boyfriend is that shallow." So, Chloe's eyes danced with mischief, a cunning little smile playing on her lips. "Are you after my body or not?" "Definitely," Leo said without a moment's hesitation. If I knew it. You perv, perv, perv." She started playfully punching him in the side. When she was tired, she just held onto his arm, staring off into space with a serious, thoughtful expression. Finally, Chloe seemed to make up her mind. She bit her lip hard. Ding. Chloe Miller's affinity has increased by 5 points. Current affinity, 52. Keep up the good work. Ding. Chloe Miller's affinity has reached 50 points. Display her personal information. Ding. Chloe Miller's affinity has reached 52. You have received a mysterious chest. Open it. For once, the Portland weather forecast was accurate. They were only partway through their walk when Leo sensed a shift in the air and immediately led Chloe to the underground parking garage. The moment they got in the car, the sky opened up, A torrential downpour slammed into the waterfront, washing over everything. All right, it's getting late. I'll drive you back to campus, Leo said, clicking his seatbelt. I'll come see you again when you have a break. No, we don't have to go back to campus. What did you say? I have my ID. Chloe blurted out, her heart pounding. She quickly turned her head to look out the window, a deep blush spreading from her cheeks all the way down her neck. Oh, okay, Leo said after a long pause, nonchalantly scratching his nose. Now is not the time to get overly excited. He had to play this cool, match her tone, keep his composure. The most important thing was not to let her see how triumphant he felt about getting what he knew she held so precious. Until they were actually in a hotel room, nothing was certain. Chloe could still change her mind at the last second, and then he'd have nowhere to cry. Though he wasn't sure why she'd had such an abrupt and direct change of heart, with the pouring rain providing the perfect excuse, there was no way Leo was going to let this opportunity slip by. It's raining so hard, and you don't have an umbrella? You can't get back anyway, Leo said, already pulling up Google Maps to find a decent hotel nearby, his voice impressively calm as he gave her a ready-made excuse. Let's just get a room for the night. I'll drive you back in the morning. They were already in one of Portland's busiest areas. The map on his navigation screen was littered with pins for hotels and motels. It was a Sunday, so there were a lot of tourists and locals out, and most places were already booked solid. Leo drove around for over 10 minutes before he finally found a reservation at a 5-star hotel. It was expensive enough that it still had some deluxe suites available. After parking in the hotel's private garage, Chloe started to get hesitant, her pace slowing. Seeing this, Leo knew he was in trouble. He quickly took her hand and led her into the elevator. At the front desk, Leo pulled out his ID, then said softly, "Babe, can I have your ID?" Chloe's face flushed as she glanced at the smiling female receptionist. For her, walking into a hotel with a guy to get a room was like announcing to the entire world exactly what they were planning to do. "Babe, your ID. She's waiting for it," Leo urged gently. "Besides, it's pouring out there. We can't go anywhere. It's just one night. It's no big deal." "Here." Chloe reluctantly pulled the ID from her pocket, then quickly turned away, avoiding the polite, all-knowing gaze of the receptionist. "I made a reservation online, under Shepard," Leo said, handing both IDs to the woman. His words were quick and concise. "For two, a deluxe room, one night." "Thanks." "Of course, Mr. Shepard. I'll get that process for you," the receptionist said with a friendly smile, her eyes flicking imperceptibly over the young couple. As a 5-star hotel employee, she saw all kinds of guests every day. This pretty girl was clearly a first-timer. From her nervous, shy demeanor, it was obvious that what was going to happen in that room was more than just staying for one night. As for the guy, who knew if this was his first time bringing a girl to a hotel. But judging by his impatient attitude and complete lack of nerves, he was either in a rush to make his move before she changed her mind, or he was definitely not this girl's first love. Another player, the receptionist sighed internally, but she continued processing their check-in with professional patience. She wasn't about to get fired for saying too much. Besides, at least this guy was handsome and looked to be in good shape. He was miles better than the pot-bellied, balding old men who only had a bit of cash in their pockets. I guess it's the best of a bad situation, she thought, glancing at Leo's handsome face before handing him a keycard. "Here you are, Mr. Shepard. Your room is 0219. "Thanks," Leo said, taking the card. He grasped Chloe's small hand and started walking toward the elevators. Halfway there, Chloe's steps slowed again, a conflicted expression twisting her face. The first signs of resistance were showing. By the time they reached the elevator, she refused to get in, looking at Leo with a pained expression and unconsciously tried to pull her wrist from his grip. "Babe, it's pouring rain. We'll just stay one night and leave. Ask the front desk for an umbrella. It's Sunday, they're super busy. Besides, I just spent a fortune on this room. Wouldn't it be a waste not to even see what it looks like? Go back to campus now? But I didn't sleep well last night. And with this rain, what if something happens on the road? That wouldn't be good. I swear if I touch you, I'm a dog, okay? I'll just hold you, we can talk. I won't do anything to you." Leo tried everything, finally raising his hand and swearing an oath before he managed to coax Chloe into the elevator. As the elevator ascended to their floor, Leo kept his arm around Chloe, whispering sweet nothings and reassurances. When they reached their room, he let her go and tapped the keycard. The lock beeped. The instant Leo pushed the door open, Chloe spun around a run. But Leo was faster. Before the keycard was even in his pocket, his other hand shot out and wrapped around her slim waist. "Leo, you let me go." Chloe hadn't realized how strong he was. He lifted her off the ground with one arm. She kicked her legs, struggling. I just remembered I forgot some books. I need to go home and get them. Let me go. No way. You already agreed. I've already paid for the hotel. What does it look like if you run off now? Leo carried her into the room with one arm, inserted the key card to turn on the power, and the lights and electronics all flickered to life. Chloe argued stubbornly. When did I agree to anything? Then what did you mean when you told me you brought your ID? Leo tossed her onto the soft, king-size bed, then pounced, looming over her. Were you just trying to tell me you're a legal adult now? That you just turned 18? You? Chloe suppressed a giggle, turning her head away shyly. She crossed her arms tightly over her chest in a gesture of defiant protest. You said before that if you messed with me, you'd be a dog. You tricked me. Woof. Leo barked without hesitation, then asked with an amused grin, I didn't trick you. I'm barking like a dog. What more do you want? Chloe's eyes went wide with embarrassment. She couldn't believe he'd actually do that. Chloe. Leo's hands gently stroked her smooth thighs as he began placing soft kisses on her neck. Chloe's resistance melted away. Leo had won the battle. Her arms slowly uncrossed, and she buried her face in the pillow, muttering resentfully, You're the worst. You just love to bully me. Hearing that, Leo knew he was in. Babe, why don't you go take a shower first? I'll wait, he said, kissing her lips softly. He got up, pulled out a cigarette, and walked over to the window to watch the storm, his voice casual. But if you really don't want to, we can leave right now. I told you, I'll respect your decision. He'd been with Chloe long enough to know her personality inside and out. As long as you were sincere and showed her you were genuine, she wouldn't refuse you anything that wasn't a matter of principle. Curled up on the bed, Chloe watched him with shimmering eyes. After a moment of indecision, she bit her lip, got up, and walked over to him. She plucked the unlit cigarette from his lips and gave him an adorable glare before grabbing a hotel robe and disappearing into the bathroom. Listening to the sound of the shower, Leo's thoughts turned inward, communicating with the system in his mind. System, open the mysterious chest. Back on the waterfront, Chloe's affinity for him had broken past 50, earning him another mysterious chest. Leo figured Chloe would be in the shower for a good 15 or 20 minutes, so he might as well see what was inside. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have received a detached villa in Willow Creek Estates. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have received the divine talent. Inanimate arts. This ability can only be understood, not explained. Its mysteries will be revealed through practice. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have received the divine talent. Master Director. Your directorial talents will be qualitatively enhanced. Paired with a sufficiently skilled cast, you can create one world-renowned masterpiece after another. Whoa, 3 reward at once. I'm on a roll. Leo exclaimed internally, overjoyed. He began to examine the 3 abilities more closely. First, the villa in Willow Creek Estates. This was insane. It was a legendary, astronomically expensive luxury community that everyone in Portland knew about. One of the most exclusive in the entire country. Properties there sold for unbelievable prices. Even the cheapest one would be worth tens of millions. As he was thinking, a thick, red-covered portfolio materialized in his hands. Embossed on the cover in gold foil were the words, United States Property Title. Leo glanced toward the bathroom. Chloe wouldn't be out anytime soon. He eagerly opened the portfolio, wanted to see just how big his new house was. He hoped it wasn't the smallest one on the block. Willow Creek Estates, Lot A, 6 property area, 7,100 SQ. FD. Title holder, Leo Shepard. 7,100 square feet? Leo drew in a sharp breath, incredulous. This was definitely not one of the lesser villas in Willow Creek. Based on the square footage alone, it had to be in the upper middle tier at least. He did some quick mental math. A detached villa like this could easily be worth over $40 million. Of course, Leo had no intention of selling it. Setting aside whether any tycoon could even cough up that much cash, this was a villa in Willow Creek Estates. It was the best, most expensive, most luxurious community in Portland. Period. He wasn't short on cash right now. He had a beautiful, wealthy landlady and a few million in the bank. Why would he sell it? Wouldn't it be better to move in himself? I'll have to check it out when I have time. Leo excitedly stuffed the title portfolio into the nightstand drawer and then focused on the changes the intimate arts talent was making to his body and mind. How to describe this ability? It was just as the system said. It can only be understood, not explained. Its mysteries will be revealed through practice. In an instant, the techniques and moves of countless masters were seared into his brain, becoming an indelible part of his memory. Looks like I'll be able to treat my elf princess well, Leo murmured to himself, feeling a surge of anticipation as he processed the new knowledge. The third ability was more novel, a talent for filmmaking. If used correctly, it could be another massive source of income. I'll figure that out later. He waited in the living area for a few more minutes. When the sound of the hairdryer in the bathroom stopped, Leo knew Chloe was ready. The moment she stepped out, Leo's breath caught in his throat. Steam billowed from the bathroom like a mythical fog. Chloe, wrapped in a fluffy white robe and wearing damp slippers, walked to the side of the bed. She seemed to be debating whether to sit down or lie on it. Her slender fingers toyed with a wet curl of her hair, and a visible blush colored her cheeks. She looked at Leo, wanting to speak but not knowing what to say, her expression a cute mix of shyness and defiance. A few glistening water droplets still clung to the hollow of her collarbone. Ahem, I'm going to take a shower too, Leo said, forcing himself to sound calm as he swallowed hard and made a slight adjustment. He walked toward the bathroom. As he passed Chloe, he leaned in and playfully nipped her on her smooth cheek. Perv, she muttered, then fell silent as she stared at the large, soft bed. Whatever, here goes nothing, Chloe thought, and with a surge of resolve, she dived onto the bed, pulling the covers over herself in a shy, expectant bundle. Less than 2 minutes later, Leo emerged, toweling his hair dry. Chloe, a pair of shy, curious eyes peeked out from under the covers. What is it? Are you out of body wash or shampoo? Leo tossed the towel onto a chair near the TV. I'm done. He was kidding, right? In a situation like this, taking longer than 3 minutes in the shower would be a disgrace to manhood. What? While Chloe was still in shock, Leo ripped back the covers and pulled her robed body into his arms. Let go of me. Chloe struggled half-heartedly in his embrace for a moment before going still. Her heart hammered against her ribs as she nestled against his chest, listening to the strong, steady beat of his heart. Inexperienced, nervous, and thrilled all at once, she waited for her boyfriend to make his move. Chloe, your hands are so small and soft. Let's compare, Leo said, not jumping straight to the main event, but instead starting with gentle, meaningless chatter. You're a guy, of course your hands are bigger than mine, Chloe whispered, her hand enveloped in his. Leo nuzzled her slightly damp hair. Babe, you smell so good. That's the body wash, of course it smells good. Chloe's heart rate quickened, her breathing becoming ragged. She could feel his hands starting to wander. You know what I love most about you? Your legs, Leo murmured, his hands moving from her ankles slowly upward, tracing a path along her smooth thighs. Seriously, babe, your legs are gorgeous. So perfectly toned. They're even better than a model's. Chloe fell silent. Her hands clenched his pajamas, her eyes squeezed shut as if bracing for something terrifying. Her entire body felt like it was on fire. Leo gently nibbled her earlobe. Babe, is this okay? And no, it's not. Leo, you're bad. You're bullying me. It's okay, babe, it's okay. The next morning, the heavy rain outside had subsided, replaced by a hazy sunlight that filtered through the window. A chilling dampness hung in the air. The sweltering summer was over. The crisp, melancholic days of autumn had arrived. Leo, you goof, you're on my hair. Chloe's sleepy mumble woke Leo up. He opened his eyes to find her exquisitely beautiful face right in front of him. His arm, which she was using as a pillow, was trapped beneath her head, tangled in a mass of her dark hair. Leo gently lifted her head, pulled his numb arm free, and rubbed it vigorously until the pins and needles subsided. Just then, Chloe's phone started ringing. She lazily swatted at Leo and rolled over, clearly not wanting to answer it. Leo had no choice but to get out of bed, dig through a pile of her still-warm clothes, and find the phone, which had a cartoon Pikachu sticker on the back. Thankfully, the caller wasn't one of Chloe's parents, but her best friend, Maya. Otherwise, Leo wouldn't have dared to pick up. Since it was just her best friend, he didn't hesitate and answered the call. Hello, Chloe. Are you not coming to campus today? Want me to email your TA and say you're sick? Leo glanced at Chloe, who was sleeping soundly, and a triumphant grin spread across his face. Maya, it's Leo. Chloe and I are at a hotel. There was a long silence on the other end. Leo could even hear the shocked gasps of other roommates in the background. Holy shit, for real? Chloe and Leo are at a hotel. Damn, I'm so jealous. I should have had Chloe sub in for me. Katie, have you no shame? Why don't you just ask Leo to moan your name, so you can feel included? Leo, you sly dog, Maya finally said. You meet her parents, and then immediately take my best friend to a hotel. Huh? You'd better treat us all to dinner next Saturday. No problem. Anything you want, Leo said smugly. He tossed the phone aside, slid back into the warm bed, and gathered Chloe's slim, warm body into his arms, cherishing the moment. "What are you doing?" "I was sleeping so well," Chloe murmured, stirred awake by his movements. She didn't seem to care that she was completely naked, just blinked at him with a groggy, adorable look. "Your best friend called," Leo said, gently tracing the slight puffiness around her eyes. He just watched her quietly. "She said I have to buy you guys dinner." "Whatever." Looking at Leo, so close, feeling the strength of his arms around her, Chloe slowly became more awake. Her mind filled with images from the night before, and a faint blush crept onto her cheeks. After a moment, she took his hand and gave the back of it a light, playful bite. Then she cupped his face, her expression serious and full of emotion. "Leo, I gave you everything last night. You have to be good to me from now on." Leo replied with a cheesy but heartfelt line. "Of course. Have you ever seen a goblin abandon his elf princess?" "I never understand what you're talking about," Chloe complained with a smile, then added with a mix of surprise and shyness. "I thought it was going to hurt a lot. I didn't realize it would be so easy. I guess the movies are all liars." They had been together for a while now, and after taking the final step last night, talking about something so intimate didn't feel vulgar to Chloe, especially since they were still wrapped in each other's arms. "You say it didn't hurt, but you were still scratching me." "Look what you did," Leo grumbled, touching the scratch marks on his neck. "If anyone sees this, they'll think I got into a cat fight." His neck and back were covered in faint but clearly visible scratches, all courtesy of Chloe. Chloe stammered, "Well, that's because you jerk." Not want to finish the sentence. She buried her blushing face in his chest and bit him again. You perv. I'll bite you to death." They cuddled for a while longer before Chloe suddenly propped herself up, her eyes darting around the room, nervously scanning every hidden corner. "Leo, do you think there are any cameras in here? I've seen so many movies where people get secretly filmed in hotels." "Oh, is that all?" Leo chuckled. "Where would all these cameras come from? You've been watching too many movies." Of course, just in case, he did a quick scan with his vision and found no hidden pinhole cameras. This was a well-known, high-end hotel in Portland. A deluxe room that cost this much a night wasn't likely to have such a crude problem. But what if there are? Chloe ducked back under the covers, her voice serious. "What if we get recorded, and then they blackmail us for money, or they'll post the video online? We'd be ruined." "Let them post it. What's the big deal?" Leo shrugged dismissively. "If they really do it, I'll just tell them to make sure they Photoshop me bigger, so I don't look bad." "Ha ha ha, you're horrible." Chloe burst out laughing, her hand playfully slapping his arm as she repeated a familiar complaint. "Hey, you jerk, you're on my hair again." It wasn't until 4 in the afternoon that Leo finally managed to drag a reluctant Chloe into the shower with him. Afterwards, he wrapped a loving arm around her waist as she walked with a slightly strange gait to the front desk to check out. The receptionist was the same young woman from the night before, and she was a professional. Seeing Chloe's flushed face and awkward posture, she knew instantly that her suspicions from last night had been correct. This girl, in the prime of her youth, had undoubtedly blossomed into a woman. What a shame. With that face, couldn't she find someone rich and handsome? Having worked for years in the materialistic world of Portland, the receptionist felt that a girl with Chloe's looks and figure could easily land a wealthy heir. Why throw herself at a potential player for the sake of emotion? In a few years, this girl will probably regret giving her youth away to this boy in a moment of weakness, the receptionist mused, as if seeing a younger, more naive version of herself. But this was a 5-star hotel, after all. The receptionist betrayed none of her thoughts, maintaining a practiced, commercial smile as she processed Leo's checkout. Still, Chloe felt like the receptionist was looking at her with judgmental eyes. That, combined with her own guilty conscience and natural shyness, made her wish she could find a hole to crawl into in the busy hotel lobby. "Thank you." After checking out, Leo took Chloe's hand and led her toward the elevator to the underground parking garage. Once they were inside the elevator, another receptionist whispered to her colleague, "Hey, I'm telling you, that guy's an absolute beast in bed." "For real? He's fully dressed. How can you tell?" "Why would I lie? I've seen enough guests to know." All right. Stop being horny so early in the morning. Go buy me some breakfast. It's Monday, so it's dead. I'll cover for you." "Fine." About half an hour later, the phone at the front desk rang. It was the cleaning lady from Leo's floor. Front desk. Room 0219. Something was left behind." "What is it?" the receptionist asked distractedly, the image of the young couple still in her mind. The cleaning lady replied, "Looks like a property deed." "Huh? A property deed?" The receptionist was baffled. Who brings a property deed to a hotel for a one-night stand? Had they reached the point of discussing marriage? Maybe the guy wasn't a player after all, but had already bought a marital home and was just waiting for the girl's approval. Okay, just bring it down, the receptionist said, dismissing it. On weekends and holidays, guests often left things behind. She'd seen all sorts of strange and bizarre items. But a couple bringing a property deed to a hotel room? That was a first. A few minutes later, the cleaning lady arrived at the front desk with a red portfolio, smiling good-naturedly. Found in the drawer. Young people these days are so careless. Bringing something so valuable to a hotel and leaving it lying around. Haha, the receptionist said with a faint smile, taking the portfolio and placing it on the counter. Okay, ma'am, you can get back to your work. I'll call the owner. After the cleaning lady left, the receptionist pulled up the check-in records and dialed the number Leo had left. Hello, is this Mr. Shepard? When you checked out today, did you happen to leave a property title in your room at our hotel? Oh shit. Yes, I did. I'll be right back to get it. Okay, the receptionist replied amiably. Her gaze fell on the red portfolio. I wonder where this kid bought a house. She mused, glancing around the empty lobby. It was Monday, so the hall was deserted except for a few cleaners. While snooping through a guest's lost property could get her a complaint, or the odds of being caught, she had nothing else to do. Driven by curiosity, the receptionist quietly opened the brand-new portfolio. Now I get why that girl was willing to come to a hotel with him, the receptionist thought, her eyes wide with envy as she read the line stating the property was a staggering 7,100 square feet. For a house that big, I'd be willing to. A 7,100 square foot house. Even in the most remote suburbs of Portland, that would be worth at least a few $1,000,000. Sigh. It's all about fate, she lamented internally, gently closing the portfolio, worried that Leo would see signs of tampering when he returned. Wait, an incredulous thought flashed through her mind. She quickly reopened the red portfolio, her eyes glued to the gold foil lettering on the first line. W. Willow Creek Estates? Those 3 words hit her like a punch to the gut. As a Portland local, how could she not know about the most luxurious, most expensive, most legendary gated community in the entire country? I heard the prices there are insane, like tens of millions for a single property. So 7,100 square feet would be $45 million. Her hands trembling, the receptionist swallowed hard and closed the portfolio, which was worth more than she would ever see in her lifetime, as if she had stumbled upon a dangerous secret. About 20 minutes later, Leo arrived at the hotel and went straight to the front desk. Hi, my name is Shepard. You called me earlier about a lost item. Mr. Shepard, you're here. The receptionist who had helped him, the very same one, beamed at him. Her demeanor had done a complete 180. She was now impossibly enthusiastic, grabbing his portfolio and making a show of walking out from behind the counter. Her long, black stocking legs carried her in clicking heels toward him. Here is your property title. Please take. Oops. The receptionist feigned a stumble, collapsing gracefully to the floor. The position was perfect. Her legs were spread wide, giving him an eyeful if he knelt to help her. From above, he had a clear view down her blouse. It was a flawless trap. Ow, that hurts. The receptionist rubbed her ankle, frowning, while secretly watching Leo's reaction. Why isn't this Prince Charming rushing to my aid? She wondered. The performance was so clumsy it made Leo laugh. He didn't have to think twice to know she'd looked inside the portfolio. With no intention of playing the gentleman, he asked drily, Are you okay? He grabbed one of her arms and hauled her to her feet. I'm fine, she said, smiling and shaking her head. Still not giving up. As she handed him the portfolio, she subtly brushed her fingers against his palm, then put on a pitiable, shy expression. If you're okay, then I'm leaving, Leo said with a wry smile. He took the portfolio and left without a second glance. Oomph. The receptionist stomped her foot twice in frustration. Girl, didn't I tell you? You didn't believe me, but you sure acted fast. Besides, that fall was so fake. The performance was a little too obvious. The receptionist shot her a weary glare, not wanting to engage with someone who only thought with their lower half. She wasn't interested in the guy's body. He was a multi-millionaire. If she could just catch his eye, her fortune would be made. Unfortunately, he didn't seem to have any interest in a hotel receptionist. Thinking about it, it made sense. The girl he was with yesterday was stunning. Why would he look twice at her? No wonder they say money corrupts men. This is a real test of character, Leo muttered, steering the car with one hand through the heavy traffic. While waiting at a red light, he glanced at the portfolio on the passenger seat, recalling the receptionist's overly forward behavior. He couldn't help but laugh at himself. She was definitely just into me because I'm so handsome. It had nothing to do with this $40 million villa. In this materialistic society, money was an incredibly powerful intoxicant. With the system's help, Leo's assets would only grow, and he suspected the advances wouldn't be limited to hotel receptionists. I just hope I can keep passing whatever tests fate throws at me, Leo thought, gripping the steering wheel with new resolve. Just then, his phone buzzed with an incoming call. He glanced at the screen. It was a video call from Riley. "What's up?" he answered. The other end was silent for several seconds. All he could hear was faint, rapid breathing. Leo was getting impatient. "If you're not going to talk, I'm hanging up." "Bro," Riley finally spoke, her voice a mix of shyness and reluctance. "Whoa, did the sun rise in the west today?" "You're actually calling me bro," Leo chuckled, assuming she was about to ask for money. "Spit out. How much are you trying to squeeze out of me this time? I'm in a good mood today, so I might even give you a little extra." She hesitated for another few seconds. Leo heard what sounded like a nervous swallow before she asked something completely shocking. Can you be my boyfriend?" "What the hell?" Leo yelped, nearly rear-ending the Audi in front of him. He slammed on the brakes just in time, heart pounding. "Are you crazy, you little brat? Do you know what you just said? I'm driving here." Are you okay? Did you crash?" Riley asked, concerned. "Almost plowed into someone, what do you think?" Leo said, taking a deep breath to calm down. He asked suspiciously, "Did you lose a bet with your roommates or something? Is this a prank?" "And no, it's not a dare," Riley said sheepishly. "I was bragging to my roommates that I had a super handsome, tall, and rich boyfriend, so could you?" Tell me more," Leo said, puffing up with pride. He knew what this was about now. She wanted him to pretend to be her boyfriend to back up her lie. "Please, Leo. Please, bro," Riley begged, her tone becoming soft and pleading, a far cry from her usual bratty, defiant self. "They're dying to meet him. If you help me out this one time, I'll do anything you want from now on. Please, bro." "Not interested. Bye." Leo put his phone down dismissively. In his current situation, he couldn't risk pretending to be someone else's boyfriend, especially not his own sister's. If a relative or family friend saw them and told his parents, he'd be heading straight for a therapy session and a restraining order. Meanwhile, in a dorm room at PSU, when Chloe got back, she found only Maya in the room, huddled under her covers, playing a game on her laptop with some guy online. The other two roommates were in class. "I gotta go. You play on without me. I have stuff to deal with," Maya said, immediately closing her game when she saw Chloe. She climbed down from her bunk, a knowing, mischievous grin on her face as she paced back and forth in front of Chloe. "So, Chloe, is there anything you want to tell me?" "Tell you? Tell you what?" Chloe asked, playing dumb, a blush creeping up her cheeks. "Oh, come on. We've been friends forever. Don't be shy now." Maya sat next to Chloe, wrapping an arm around her waist. "So," she asked, her eyes sparkling with curiosity, "did you and Leo do it last night?" I don't know what you're talking about," Chloe stammered, her face turning a deeper shade of red as she avoided her best friend's intensely curious gaze. "Chloe, don't play with me," Maya pressed. "Leo answered your phone this morning. Just tell me, what was it like?" "Oh my God, it was, it's not like you haven't seen movies," Chloe said. Just then, some students walked past the door, and her face flushed even more. Maya quickly ran over and locked the door. "So you really did it?" she asked, desperate for details. Chloe mumbled shyly. He insisted. "Wow. If the guys in our classes knew you gave it up for another guy." Maya said, looking at how her normally bright and confident friend had become so shy. "I bet you the campus subreddit is going to explode because of you again." "Who cares if it explodes? It has nothing to do with me," Chloe retorted dismissively. "So, Chloe, tell me the details," Maya begged. "I'm her best friend. I just want to know what it feels like, for future reference." "Okay, but you can't tell anyone else." Even though the two of them were inseparable, Chloe was still hesitant to talk about something so private. "Of course not. Now spill." "Well, first, under her best friend's gentle prodding, Chloe began to recount the events of the previous night in vivid detail. "Oh, my God. Just listening to you tell it is so hot. It's like an erotic audiobook." "Is Leo really that good?" Maya asked, swallowing hard, her own face flushed. Just hearing the description was enough to paint a very vivid picture. Chloe's face was burning. Talking about this stuff with her best friend, even if they were close, was utterly mortifying. Around 1 in the afternoon, under a bright, sunny sky, Leo didn't drive straight home. Instead, he followed his GPS to Willow Creek Estates. He wanted to see the grand villa he'd just gotten from the system with his own eyes. The villa had 2 parking options, a space in the shared underground garage and a private garage attached to the house. Since Leo wanted to walk around and explore the exclusive neighborhood, he decided to park in the shared garage first. "Holy crap, this isn't a parking garage, it's a car show," he thought. The underground garage of Willow Creek Estates was a sea of gleaming, high-end sports cars, most worth over $1 million. There were some incredibly sleek, low-slung hypercars that Leo had only ever seen on TikTok, worth tens of millions. It was no exaggeration to say that his personal garage and need for speed didn't have this many luxury vehicles. Among the collection of Porsches, Ferraris, and Lamborghinis, the cheapest car seemed to be a BMW 7 Series. In comparison, Leo's $40,000 Mercedes-Benz C300 looked completely out of place, not even in the same league. Didn't I pay for my car with money, too? Leo thought, unfazed. He wasn't embarrassed in the slightest. After muttering to himself, he smugly parked in his designated spot, put on his sunglasses, and left the garage. At the property management office, he showed his ID and the property title. Just like that, he got the keys to his $40 million villa. The process was ridiculously easy, with almost no paperwork. It was like picking up a package from an Amazon hub. After verifying his identity, the property manager simply handed him the keys. There was none of the cliché drama you read about in novels, no snobbish staff looking down on him. There was no one questioning his identity because of his simple clothes, leading to a dramatic face-slapping moment when he revealed the deed. On the contrary, the property staff and security guards were exceptionally friendly. From the management office to the villa grounds, everyone greeted him with a smile. If Leo hadn't wanted to tour the place alone, the manager, a woman in a sharp suit and heels, would have gladly given him a personal tour. The few other residents he encountered on his way to the villa were the same. His multimillionaire neighbors were all polite and approachable, speaking in calm, gentle tones. In a place of such extreme wealth, you rarely found people who looked down on others. It wasn't that all rich people were nice, but most were well-mannered and understood the importance of courtesy. They had received excellent educations and treated others with respect. Only a small fraction were arrogant, believing their family's wealth gave them priority over everyone else. Those types, unless their family fortune was truly bottomless, usually saw their wealth quickly dissipate back in the market. Because it was a community of detached villas, the further Leo walked, the fewer people he saw. Each magnificent villa he passed was quiet, almost as if no one lived there. The properties were spaced far apart, giving each one a sense of private, island-like seclusion. Lot A, number 6. This is it. From a distance, Leo spotted his villa. It looked like a fairy tale palace, exuding an aura of boundless luxury and charm. He walked up to the front door, took out the key the manager had given him, and opened it with a mix of excitement and anticipation. The first thing that greeted him was a vast, empty living room, lavishly decorated. He felt that speaking even slightly too loudly would create an echo. He wasn't exaggerating when he thought you could play badminton in there. The villa's interior design was exquisite, every detail meticulously crafted. Huge floor-to-ceiling windows and balconies allowed sunlight and fresh air to stream in, while also offering breathtaking views. The walls were made of the finest materials, polished to a smooth, lustrous finish. The luxurious sofa and coffee table made it feel like the lobby of a five-star hotel. The floors were top-grade marble, perfectly laid and polished. It was a 4-story villa with 7 bedrooms. The upper floors were filled with empty bedrooms and bonus rooms. And of course, a property of this caliber came with its own private swimming pool. Through the massive windows in the living room, he could see the sparkling water, with a few fallen leaves floating on the surface. But the absolute best part of Willow Creek was the view. From the bedroom windows on the 2nd floor and above, you could see the Willamette River as it wound its way through Portland. The only downside to the villa was that it felt too quiet. Neighbors probably didn't visit each other much. It lacked the lively, communal feel of a normal apartment complex. It took Leo over half an hour to explore the entire villa, inside and out. It really is good to be rich, he sighed, sinking into the plush sofa in the living room, a deep sense of satisfaction washing over him. Just then, his phone chimed with a notification. He pulled it out and saw a friend request. The username was "My Man is Sweeter." Thinking it might be one of Chloe's roommates, he accepted. Offline mode, who is this? My man is Sweeter. Oh, you forgot me already? We met at the cafe, remember? For that blind date? Jessica? Cute emoji. TCH, the random girl from Chapter 1, Leo thought with a smirk. He quickly deduced why she was adding him now. His mom, Sharon, played bridge with Jessica's mom. Sharon loved to show off, so she must have casually mentioned during one of their games that Leo was making good money writing novels now. Funny how, when you have money, you suddenly have a connection with everyone. Offline mode. Didn't we decide it wasn't a match? Why are you adding me? My man is Sweeter. I just didn't really know you back then. And I heard from my Annie that you're making over $100,000 a month writing now. and you even bought a Mercedes. Thinking about it, you're actually a pretty good guy. You're honest and down-to-earth, tall, and now you're financially stable. I feel like I'd be really secure with you. Want to get dinner tonight? Shy emoji. Offline mode. I just got lucky with one hit book. The next one might not make nearly as much. Probably more like 3,000 or 4,000 a month. My man is sweeter. That's okay. I'm not like those gold diggers online. 3,000 or 4,000 a month is enough for me to spend. Offline mode. Offline mode. Wow. You don't even want to leave me a single dollar. Capitalists would weep at that statement. Sweating emoji. My man is sweeter. Isn't it normal for a boyfriend to spend money on his girlfriend? Some of my friends' boyfriends spend tens of thousands on them every month. Confused emoji. Damn. Has she been playing too much poker and lost her mind? I wouldn't even burn that much fake money for my ancestors, Leo thought. Laughing. Where did this girl get the audacity to demand money so shamelessly? Did she think she was a queen? Considering her mom and his mom were friends, and they might have to see each other again, Leo decided to be polite. Offline mode. You should go find a guy who will spend that kind of money on you. I don't think we're a good fit. See you around. Waving emoji. My man is sweeter. You're really not going to reconsider? Offline mode. Nope. Thanks. Waving emoji. After he sent the sticker, her tone suddenly shifted, her typing speed becoming furiously fast. My man is sweeter. Fine. It's not like I really wanted to date a gloomy introvert like you anyway. And I already have a boyfriend. Smirking emoji. Offline mode. And that has what to do with me? My man is sweeter. LOL, has anyone ever told you that you try too hard? You think responding like that makes you seem cool and mysterious? You think you're hot shit just because you have a little money? Wow. Just wow. Incel vibes. So cringe. Smirking emoji. 1. Where did this moron come from? Is your brain like your colon, just for storing shit? Stop having a meltdown in my DMs. 2. What the hell is your problem? Did your mouth and your ass get switched at birth? Did I do something to you? 3. Go away, you idiot. I'm not wasting my time on you. Get lost. Leo was about to unleash his inner gamer rage, but the system beat him to it. The perfectly crafted, soul-crushing insults instantly expanded his vocabulary. With his talent-enhanced dexterity, Leo's fingers flew across the screen. In less than 15 seconds, all 3 options had been sent. The typing bubble on her end appeared for a long time. She probably hadn't expected him to be so ruthless and direct with his insults. She was likely stunned into silence. Finally, a message came through. My man is sweeter. You're a grown man, and you're cussing out a girl? Are you even a man? Ding. Jessica Collins's fury has increased by 20 points. Current fury, 20. Keep up the good work. Whoa, 20 points that fast. How mad is she right now? Leo was shocked. It was his first time collecting fury points from someone, and it was a huge haul. All right then, I guess I'm sitting up straight for this one. Leo cracked his knuckles and, under the system's guidance, launched a ferocious counteroffensive. Ding. Jessica Collins's fury has increased by 20 points. Current fury, 40. Keep up the good work. When her fury reached 40, she shot back one last, indignant message. Cringe lord. I'm telling my mom. Then she blocked him. Are you a child? You run to your parents when you lose an argument? Leo scoffed, completely unconcerned. As long as he explained the situation, he knew his mom wouldn't side with an outsider. Sure enough, a call from Sharon came through moments later. What is wrong with you? Your Auntie Collins just called me and said you made her daughter cry. Mom, she started it, Leo said, immediately forwarding the chat history to Sharon. She talked to your son like that. You want me to just sit there and take it? I had no idea the Collins daughter was like that. It's a good thing you didn't end up with her, Sharon said, clicking her tongue. Well, that's that. I guess I'm just short one bridge partner. Don't you go provoking her again. And hey, how are things going with that girl? Yeah, they're good. That's good. The holidays are coming up. You should ask that girl if she wants to come back with us to visit family. Mom, it's way too soon for that. We just started dating. Well, it's up to you. But I'm telling you, Leo, I really like this girl. You better not screw this up. Okay, Mom, I've got stuff to do. I'll talk to you later. Leo hung up, annoyed. It seemed like every conversation with his parents ended with him talking about his girlfriend. In the past, he would have been thrilled to tell Chloe and, with her permission, take her to meet all his relatives. But now there was another sweet, simple girl in his life. He had to keep things balanced. It was either bring them both home or bring neither. As he was lost in thought, a message from Lily popped up. Lasting peace. I'm back from class. I saw you weren't home. Are you coming back for dinner? I can cook for you now. Offline mode. Yeah, I'm coming back. Lasting peace. Okay. A moment later, Lily sent 2 cartoon images. One was a cat-eared girl holding her arms out for a hug. The other was a cheerful-looking boy, also with his arms out for a hug. They were clearly a matching couple's avatar set. Her intention was obvious. She was too shy to ask him directly if he wanted to use them. After sending the pictures, Lily waited a long time before bravely sending another message, trying to gauge his interest. Lasting piece. Do you like this picture? We could use it for our avatars. Offline mode. It's a matching set, right? Lasting piece, yeah. If you don't think it's nice, we don't have to. Leo could almost picture her clutching her cheap phone, waiting nervously for his reply. He didn't want to disappoint the sweet, innocent girl. Offline mode. Let's do it. It's way better than your sunflower one anyway. Lasting piece. Thank you. Offline mode. What did I say before? A system notification popped up. The other user has recalled a message. The moment he sent his message, Lily had immediately retracted hers, her caution almost adorable. Offline mode. All right, I'll be home in half an hour. Don't cook, I'll take you out to eat. After sending the message, Leo immediately forwarded the cat-eared girl avatar to Chloe. Offline mode. Babe, I just found a really cute set of couples avatars. You should change yours. Cute emoji. My elf princess. No way, that's too cartoony. It makes us look like we're in middle school. Hold on, I'll find some better ones. Chloe knew it was a matching set, and she was more than willing to change her profile picture. But she wasn't an anime fan and didn't get the whole geek culture thing, so she wasn't a fan of the cartoonish style. Offline mode. Come on, babe, let's just use this one. I really like it. It took me forever to find. Since he'd already promised Lily he'd use this avatar, Leo couldn't be bothered to use a different set from Chloe and then have to convince Lily to switch again. My elf princess, fine. I can't say no to you. I guess this is what I get for dating a total geek. Smug emoji. Leo saw that both Lily's and Chloe's profile pictures had been changed to the cat-eared girl asking for a hug. He quickly changed his to the matching handsome boy. Looking at the two identical couples' avatars in his contacts list, he felt a mix of anxiety, guilt, and a strange, illicit thrill. So this was what it felt like to be a player. My elf princess, Leo, I'm coming over to your place on Saturday, okay? Offline mode. Sounds great. Drooling emoji, drooling emoji. My elf princess. Bonk emoji, bonk emoji. After chatting for a few more minutes, Leo drove back to the Evergreen Terrace apartments. He'd move into the outrageously expensive villa some other time. When he got to the entrance of his complex, he leaned against his car and waited. A few moments later, Lily emerged from the building. The weather was a little cool today, and she was wearing a light, fluffy white sweater with a pair of slim-fit jeans and comfortable sneakers. It was a stylish yet comfortable outfit that perfectly showcased her flawless, model-esque proportions. The way the soft sweater stretched across her chest and the jeans hugged her long, toned legs was enough to stir something deep inside him. The only person who seemed uncomfortable with the outfit was Lily herself. Leo had bought her all these expensive clothes, and she was terrified of accidentally snagging or scuffing them. When she saw the familiar Mercedes and the young man leaning against it, a bright smile lit up her delicate face. She broke into a happy little jog, running toward him. Wow, you look beautiful. I almost didn't recognize you. Leo complimented her sincerely. But then his eyes landed on her hair, which was pulled back into the same severe, tight bun as always, and he couldn't help but frown slightly. He had only ever seen women his mother's age wear their hair in such a practical bun. It was convenient for getting work done without hair getting in the way, a common style for middle-aged housewives. Lily was just 20. With her stunning face and incredible figure, the hairstyle was jarringly out of place. He couldn't just say it looked bad. That would be tactless. Instead, he smiled and asked, "Why don't you wear your hair down from now on? I love how you look with long hair. Or you could braid it like you did when we first met." "Okay," Lily said without a second thought. She reached up, pulled the hair tie out of her bun, and tucked it in her pocket. A cascade of shoulder-length black hair tumbled down like a waterfall. At that exact moment, a gentle breeze blew past. The freed hair blossomed, each strand seeming to come alive, dancing with the wind, light and ethereal. It was a poetic, breathtaking scene, made all the more captivating by Lily's enchanting, flower-like beauty. Leo reached out and ran his fingers through her soft, glossy hair. "You know," he teased, "it's a real shame you're not doing commercials for Pantene." Lily didn't quite know how to respond to that kind of playful compliment. Even though she was thrilled, she could only ask shyly, Where are we going?" "I'll take you to Riverwalk Plaza. We can walk around and get some dinner." The areas around PSU and Pioneer Square, Chloe's usual haunts, were absolutely off-limits for dates with Lily. If any PSU student saw them, it would be a disaster. From now on, whenever he took Lily out, anywhere far away from the university was for the best. "Okay." After they got in the car and buckled up, Lily said unexpectedly, Can I pay for dinner tonight?" "Hmm? Why?" Leo asked, glancing over at her as he held the steering wheel. The money I saved for my grandmother's treatment. I don't need it anymore, Lily said very seriously. You've helped me so much. Grandma said I should treat you to a nice meal to thank you properly. I see. Well, all right then. For tonight, I'll be the cringe guy who lets a girl pay, Leo said, not refusing her. He then added with a grin, but I have a really big appetite. Did you bring enough money? Yes, I have money in my payment app, Lily replied confidently. Why are you still using that old phone? Leo noticed she was still using her cheap, off-brand phone. Didn't I buy you a new one? It should have arrived by now, right? It arrived, but I haven't opened it yet. It's too expensive, Lily explained softly, clutching the phone with the cracked screen. I figured I'd wait until this one breaks. Leo sighed, not sure how to persuade this sweet and simple girl. After a moment of silence, he tried a different tactic. You have to use a new phone right away. If you just let it sit there, the parts inside can go bad. Lily took him seriously. Oh, really? She asked, looking worried. Would I lie to you? You can look it up online if you don't believe me. Okay, then. Then I'll open it tomorrow and start using it, she said quickly. So adorably naive, Leo thought, shaking his head with a smile. His gaze then fell on her long legs in the jeans, and he said, with a lie so obvious a fool could see through it, Babe, I haven't driven much these past few days. I'm still a little nervous. Lily shot him a blushing glance, a rare moment of sassiness from her. I don't believe you, she muttered, her voice barely a whisper. Well, looks like she's not a complete fool, Leo thought, abandoning his plan to touch her leg. He focused on driving, both hands on the wheel. But a second later, in his peripheral vision, he saw Lily's legs almost imperceptibly shift closer to him. When Leo looked up at her, she had already turned her head to gaze at the bustling city scenery outside, leaving him with a view of her deeply flushed neck. All right, so she's still my little fool, Leo thought with a soft laugh. He let his right hand rest comfortably on her thigh, gently stroking it. Around 6 in the evening, as dusk settled, the streets of the bustling Riverwalk Plaza were already aglow with a dazzling array of colorful lights. Leo held Lily's warm, soft hand, and just like countless other couples, they wandered through the plaza, laughing and talking. Of course, Leo did all the talking. Lily was in charge of smiling sweetly. With her complete lack of social skills, she was incapable of starting a conversation. Lily's world was very small. Even doing nothing, just being quietly by Leo's side and listening to him talk endlessly, was enough to make her feel perfectly content. Leo turned to look at her. Is there anything you want to eat? Lily shook her head indifferently. I'm okay with anything. You can decide. Let me see. Leo glanced at the list of popular restaurants on the mall directory. How about we get some steak? He asked tentatively. We could be a little romantic. Lily nodded eagerly at the word romantic, completely oblivious to just how upscale the restaurant Leo had chosen was. All right, let's go. Leo led Lily, following the map's directions, to an elegantly decorated steakhouse. It was a high-end place. From the outside, they could see well-dressed patrons dining inside, including a few businessmen in suits. It was a Monday, so it wasn't too crowded. A hostess guided them to a table by the window. This was Lily's first time in such a fancy establishment. When the waiter pulled out her chair for her, she even whispered a quiet thank you. You're welcome. The waitress smiled warmly at Lily and handed the menus. Are you ready to order, or would you like me to tell you about our specials? Lily solemnly opened the thick menu and was immediately stunned by the prices. She looked up at Leo, wanting to say something but not knowing how. She was worried the money she had wouldn't be enough to treat him to a romantic dinner here. Leo ordered a pan-seared sea bass and a few appetizers, then handed the menu to the waitress. I'll just have the borscht, thank you, Lily said. She had done a rough calculation. What Leo had just ordered would cost at least a few $100s. If she ordered anything else, she definitely wouldn't have enough to pay the bill. Silly. The portions at a place like this are small. You won't be full with just that, Leo said. He took the menu back, generously ordered a few more main courses, and then looked at a dazed Lily. Anything else? No, that's all. The check, please. Thank you, Lily said, shaking her head quickly as she pulled out her phone, ready to pay. The waitress quickly returned with a handheld card reader and the bill, placing it in front of Leo. Will that be card or cash? I'll get it. Just as Leo was about to pull out his phone, Lily insisted on paying. She was the one who wanted to treat him, after all. All right then, Leo said. Seeing how insistent she was, he pushed the bill toward her. Okay. The waitress paused, surprised. It was rare to see a woman pay at a steakhouse, but she didn't dwell on it and presented the bill to Lily. Ma'am, your total is $430. Will you be paying with card or cash? $430. Lily was completely frozen. She only had about $300 in her payment app. She couldn't possibly cover the bill. Can I wash dishes? Lily asked weakly. The waitress just smiled. Ma'am, you have a great sense of humor. Oh well, soon. A completely unbothered Leo felt a desperate gaze on him. More amusingly, under the table where the waitress couldn't see, Lily had resourcefully extended one of her legs and was gently rubbing it against his pant leg, her message crystal clear. Here, let me, Leo said. He paused for a second, then quickly understood. He took the bill, paid with his phone, and waited for the waitress to leave before he burst out laughing. Seriously, if I didn't have any money either, were you really going to stay here and wash their dishes? Lily's face turned bright red, and she didn't say a word. If Leo hadn't had the money, that was probably exactly what she would have done. You're so silly, Leo sighed, then said with a hopeful look, Hey, don't forget, you owe me a dinner. Okay, Lily nodded, a smile finally returning to her face. Maybe they were just two simple people who couldn't appreciate fine dining. After leaving the steakhouse, Leo complained about how mediocre the food was. More importantly, they had spent over $400 and were both still hungry. The portions were a fraction of what you'd get at a food truck for a tenth of the price. The only thing the restaurant had going for it was its romantic atmosphere. It was a decent spot for a date, but the waitress had been so nice to Lily that, even though she hadn't enjoyed the food either, she didn't join Leo's critique. Instead, she silently defended the restaurant in her head. After dinner, they strolled through Riverwalk Plaza. Lily held onto Leo's arm, listening to him chatter on about nothing in particular as they weaved through the evening crowds. Around 9 o'clock, Leo drove Lily back to their apartment complex. He parked the car in the garage. As Lily unbuckled her seatbelt, she asked tentatively, Can we not take the elevator up? Leo was busy tidying up the driver's seat area. Why? Do you have to pick up a package? Lily shook her head. After a pause, she said softly, Can we walk in through the main entrance? Taking the elevator directly upstairs meant they would only have another minute together. But if they walked from the main gate of the complex, she could spend a few more minutes with him. Leo looked up, confused. The bright interior light of the car illuminated her face, full of a hopeful, almost pleading expression that tugged at his heart. He quickly understood. He smiled and nodded. Sure, a little walk will be good for digestion. Sorry. Lily was about to thank him out of habit, but a look from Leo made her stop. She corrected herself with a quiet apology. Oh my God, how'd I end up with such a sweet dummy for a girlfriend? Leo said, exasperated. After getting out of the car, he grabbed Lily by the waist, pulled her close, and planted a loud, sloppy kiss on her cheek, leaving a wet mark. Then, like a charming rogue, he wrapped his arm around the innocent girl and walked her toward the main entrance. Lily pouted, wiping the kiss off her cheek with her sleeve, and shyly retorted, I'm not a dummy. The autumn night was still and silent. A cool moon filtered through the dense canopy, casting a silver glow over the dark woods like a thin veil, making the air feel crisp and chilled. In this kind of weather, few tenants were out for a stroll. The apartment complex's central courtyard was eerily quiet, making their footsteps sound exceptionally sharp. Do you have anything to do when you get back? Want to sit in the gazebo for a bit? Leo gestured to the covered seating area in the middle of the courtyard. We can talk for a while before we go up. Okay. Lily didn't refuse. She wanted to spend more time with him anyway, and she obediently followed him to the gazebo and sat down. The tenants in the complex were surprisingly considerate. The public gazebo, which anyone could use, was kept remarkably clean. The wooden bench felt cool beneath them. Are you cold? Leo asked with concern, gently rubbing Lily's small, warm hands. It wasn't truly cold, not with the fleece-lined sweater Lily was wearing, but Leo was proactively creating an opportunity for closeness. For a shy girl like Lily, she might desperately want to be closer to you, but would be too embarrassed to initiate it. That's when a boyfriend had to come up with smooth lines to make moves that could play up the flirtation and take things to the next level. If the girl didn't object at this stage, you could push things a little further. The bottom line was simple. In a relationship, the man always had to take the lead. You couldn't push difficult, unspoken decisions onto the woman. Lily shook her head, her face flushing with shyness. She even reached out and adjusted the collar of his shirt. Are you cold? Of course I am. Can't you see how little I'm wearing? Come on, sit closer. Leo wrapped his right arm around her back, his hand resting on the small of her waist, and pulled her tall, warm body into his embrace. Lily was mortified to be so affectionate out in the open, especially so close to the main entrance of the complex where people were always coming and going. But she didn't want to break the sweet spell of the moment. Like a docile cat, she quietly leaned against his side, nestled in his arms. How about I buy you an e-scooter next Saturday? Leo brought up a topic from her daily life. Then you won't have to squeeze onto the bus every day. You could just ride it to and from campus. Lily waved her hands, refusing. Don't waste your money. Besides, I don't know how to ride one. You can learn. It's not hard. I actually have one, Leo explained. When you have time, you can practice with mine. Once you get the hang of it, I'll buy you your own. Lily was still reluctant. But that will cost you more money. It's fine. We'll just deduct it from the dowry, Leo said with a grin, then added with mock seriousness. I'm keeping a careful record of every cent I spend on you. Don't you dare try to back out once all spent. I've seen all those news stories about marriage scams lately. Lily suddenly sat bolt upright, shaking her head with a stubborn and earnest expression. No, I won't. I would never scam you. But when she met Leo's playful smile, the sweet, silly girl realized what an intimate thing she had just said and bashfully looked away again. A warmth stirred in Leo's chest. He reached up and cupped her face, turning her head back toward him. How about a kiss? He asked softly. Wait, someone might see. It's fine. It's late. No one's going to be out in this weather. Besides, I'm kissing my girlfriend. What business is it of theirs? Leo said dismissively. Then, he shamelessly pleaded. Come on, just a quick peck. Real fast, come on. Lily lowered her head, her eyes darting toward the complex entrance where someone might occasionally pass. After a long silence, she bravely took his hand and placed it on her thigh. You can touch my leg for now, she stammered in a pleading tone. We can kiss when we get back, okay? Ha, you're unbelievable. The completely unexpected maneuver made Leo burst out laughing. All right, let's go back. Get some sleep. He patted his knees and stood up, heading toward the apartment building's elevator. Lily quickly followed. While they were waiting for the elevator, Leo suddenly turned and planted a quick kiss on the cheek of the girl standing obediently behind him. You're terrible. Lily raised a small fist in embarrassment, but it never landed. Instead, she noticed a leaf stuck to his back and brushed it off, gently patting the dust from his jacket. Leo shook his head, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Geez, you really are my mother, aren't you? Ding! The elevator arrived from the parking garage, and the moment the doors opened, the smile vanished from Leo's face. Inside stood his landlady, Isabel, and her daughter, Maddie. Hey, it's Leo. Maddie squealed, rushing forward to grab his hand. Her face lit up with joy as she swung it back and forth. Leo, feigning composure, stepped into the elevator and ruffled the little girl's hair before looking at Isabel, whose expression was unreadable. Isabel, you're getting back late. Even though Isabel had said she wouldn't meddle in his private life, and had even encouraged him to pursue Lily, now that he had actually succeeded and been caught red-handed, Leo's heart hammered in his chest. He felt like he'd been caught cheating. I had to take care of a few things. Just pick Maddie up from Miss Lee's, Isabel said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. It only took her a single glance to understand the situation between Leo and Lily. A girl as innocent as Lily would never be out this late alone, much less with a boy. This kid Leo had definitely made his move, and he'd clearly succeeded. After all, the girl's affectionate gestures and shy expression were impossible to fake. Good evening, Isabel, Lily said politely, habitually moving to a corner of the elevator. Good evening, Isabel replied, her tone feigning warmth. Where were you two just now? Coming back so late. Lily would never lie to the woman who had helped her time and again. Ignorant of the complicated history between Isabel and Leo, she answered honestly. Leo drove me to Riverwalk Plaza. He treated me to a steak dinner. Is that so? That's nice. Very nice. Isabel's expression didn't change, but one of her hands snaked out unseen and gave Leo a vicious pinch on his side. Her eyes, filled with jealousy and resentment, seemed to scream, I told you to go for it, but you actually went for it, you bastard. Offline mode. Isabel, you up? We need to talk. After taking Lily home, Leo returned to his apartment and immediately opened his messaging app, intending to explain things to Isabel and gauge her reaction to his relationship with Lily. Always here, asleep. Pouting face. 2 blunt words, 2 emphatic exclamation points, and an angry emoji. It was a message designed to push him away, but in reality, it meant she was waiting for his explanation. They had an agreement. Isabel had promised not to interfere in his life. She had even been the one to push him toward Lily. She just never imagined that Leo would win over the sweet, simple girl so quickly. Her theatrical display of anger was a classic symptom of jealousy. Isabel wasn't an unreasonable woman. On the contrary, she was more mature and understanding than most. Her attitude toward this whole affair would depend entirely on how Leo treated her from this point forward. She was probably sitting by her phone right now, waiting for him to soothe her ego. Offline mode. How are you texting if you're asleep? Smirking face. Always here. None of your business. Why are you bothering me? Go find your little ingenue. Go on. Go to young girl. Why are you talking to an old woman like me? Pouting face. Offline mode. Hey, we just went out for dinner. Besides, you were the one who kept telling me to go after her, remember? Offline mode. If you've changed your mind, I'll go tell her right now and clear things up. With that message, Leo had neither confirmed nor denied his relationship with Lily, while simultaneously throwing Isabel's own words back in her face. Isabel knew Lily had feelings for Leo. Regardless of their official status, if Leo went to her and rejected her, Lily would be hurt. Isabel was a kind woman. She couldn't bear to see an innocent girl like Lily suffer. That one, slightly cold-blooded sentence from Leo had completely cut off all of Isabel's possible rebuttals. Isabel was stunned into silence for several minutes. There was nothing she could say. Finally, she typed back a furious message. Always here, you little bastard. You're such a player. I was so wrong about you. Pouting face. The moment he saw that, Leo knew it was time to change the subject and lighten the mood. Continuing to dance around this unspoken issue would only make things heavier. And he knew exactly which topic his landlady was most interested in. Her daughter, Maddie. As the saying goes, if you want to win over a single mom, get the kid to call you daddy. And it's only a matter of time before the mom does too. Offline mode. Isabel, is Maddie asleep? I haven't gotten to play with her in a while. I kind of miss the little rascal. Isabel sent a photo of Maddie sleeping peacefully, along with a caption. She's out. She had piano lessons all afternoon. Offline mode. You have her taking piano already? Isn't that a lot for a kid her age? Always here. You don't understand. You have to start these things young. I was thinking of signing her up for violin too. Leo kept the conversation centered on Maddie for over 40 minutes. As soon as the topic turned to her daughter, it was like a floodgate opened, and Isabel talked nonstop. Throughout the conversation, they both tacitly avoided any mention of the innocent girl next door. Now that the topic of the child was exhausted, it was time to move on to adult matters. Offline mode. Isabel, I miss you. Rose. The typing bubble appeared and disappeared for a long time. Finally, a single, non-committal emoji arrived. Grinning face with sweat. She was probably thinking it was too late, or maybe she didn't want to make too much noise and wake Maddie. Or perhaps she missed him too, but didn't know whether to suggest her place or his. The emoji was loaded with possibilities, but it all boiled down to one unchanging principle. Isabel was leaving the next move up to him. Offline mode. Wait for me. I'm coming to you. Leo used a decisive exclamation point, not a question mark. He wasn't testing the waters. He knew she wanted him to come over. This was a clear example of a man taking the lead in matters a woman might find hard to articulate. Just as he predicted, Isabel's reply came through. Always here. Don't knock when you get here. The door's unlocked. Just push it open. And be quiet. Maddie just fell asleep. Under the cover of a moonless, windy night, Leo arrived at the familiar door. Building 3, apartment 1702. He quietly pushed the door open and found that the main overhead light in the living room was off, with only a dim lamp casting a soft, ambient glow. Isabel was sitting on the plush sofa, dressed in a thin, light blue nightgown. In the suggestive lighting, her slender, fair legs looked utterly captivating. Hearing him enter, she didn't turn her head, merely keeping her gaze lowered, her shoulder-length hair shielding her face. In the faint light, Leo could see the blush on her cheeks. She had the shy, demure look of a young woman in love. Isabel. Leo closed the door and crossed the room in a flash, pouncing on her like a starving wolf, mercilessly conquering her territory. A few minutes of raw, explosive passion later, Isabel's legs were wrapped tightly around his waist. Like a wronged wife, she exhaled a breathy complaint. You little bastard. Living in my house, playing with my body, messing with my feelings, and driving the car I bought you to chase after that poor, unlucky girl. I must have owed you in a past life. Hearing those words, Leo's breathing grew ragged, his heart pounding as he surrendered completely. He lifted her onto his lap, urging her on impatiently. Isabel, say more. I love it when you talk to me like that. You little bastard. What's wrong with you? You like it when I curse you out. Isabel's eyes were now filled with raw desire. Overwhelmed, she pressed her hands against his shoulders, parted her red lips, and bit down on his neck. On a crisp, clear autumn morning, just as the sky began to lighten, golden shafts of sunlight pierced through the leaves, dappling the ground below. Around 6 a.m., in the master bedroom, both Leo and Isabel were awake. You were different today, Isabel murmured, her head resting in the crook of Leo's strong arm. She gazed at the vigorous, capable young man beside her, her almond-shaped eyes filled with a deep, satisfied glow. With his max-level talent and unparalleled stamina, Leo's performance was nothing short of legendary. In the past, his approach with Isabel had always been one of brute force and letting the chips fall where they may. But last night, he had shown her a whole new world. Isabel was already in the prime of her life, and after Leo's expert guidance, the look she gave him now was one of pure, silken adoration, the look of a woman who had been thoroughly and completely conquered. Different how? Leo kissed her lips, his forehead touching her fair skin as he asked gently, "Tell me, Isabel, how was I different?" "You're awful, making me say it." A hint of playful annoyance flashed in her eyes. She cupped his face with both hands and confessed in a sultry tone, "You've gotten naughty." It was no exaggeration to say that for any man, hearing those words from a woman, spoken from the heart after a night together, was the highest possible praise. Leo's pride swelled. "And do you like it?" Isabel's answer was a deep, passionate kiss. Since meeting Leo, she felt like she had changed so much. Especially when she was with him, she found herself becoming bolder, more assertive. In bed, she would even follow some of his more outrageous commands without question. "Stay for lunch. Maddie's been saying she misses you these past few days," Isabel said, her full body draped over his. Her fair, smooth legs moved restlessly under the covers, a mischievous smile on her face. She gently tapped the tip of his nose with a slender finger and whispered seductively in his ear, "What do you say?" "Hiss. Whatever you want." Leo sucked in a sharp breath, glancing down at the movement under the blankets and gripping the bedsheets tightly. His landlady really knew what she was doing. An hour later, Leo was dressed and sitting on the sofa, contentedly watching Isabel bustle around, changing the sheets from the night before. After making the bed with fresh linens, she brought a bowl of washed strawberries to the coffee table. She sat down next to him, popped a fresh berry into her mouth, and then propped her feet on his lap, her exquisite face wearing a teasing, pouty smile. "Rub them for me. They're so sore. I don't know why you had to hold back." "Ahem, Isabel, it's broad daylight. Can we talk about something normal?" Leo's face flushed. It had only been one night. How had his gentle, virtuous landlady transformed so dramatically? "Mommy," just then, Maddie woke up, dressed in cartoon fleece pajamas. She rubbed her sleepy eyes and padded into the living room. "Hey, it's Leo." Seeing him there, the little girl's sleepiness vanished. She ran over happily, her arms outstretched for him to pick her up. Isabel subtly slid her legs off Leo's lap and sat up straight. You could tell a person's character by the time they were 3. Ever since Maddie was born, Isabel had been careful never to display her bad habits or lazy behavior in front of her 6-year-old daughter. Well now, whose little cutie is this? Leo lifted the girl into his arms and asked softly, "Maddie, do you have preschool today?" "Yeah, but I don't want to go." Maddie sighed like a little adult. Kids her age just wanted to play. They weren't fond of being cooped up in a classroom. "Maddie, are you still half asleep? All the other kids are happy to go to school and learn from their teachers. Why aren't you?" Isabel reminded her seriously. "Go brush your teeth and get ready. Don't cling to Leo." Oomph. The little girl's vocabulary was limited, so she didn't know how to argue back. She just crossed her arms, turned her head away, and pouted, pretending to be angry. Isabel didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Hey, you little rascal." Leo intervened. "How about this? After you get ready, Mommy and I will take you to school together." Okay. The little girl's spirits lifted instantly, and she nodded her head vigorously. "Then hurry up and brush your teeth. When you're done, you can have some strawberries." "Okay." Maddie scurried off to the bathroom in her slippers. Watching her go, Isabel sighed with a mix of exasperation and fondness. "I swear, I should just let you raise her. She's way too easy for you to handle." Leo picked up one of Isabel's slender, fair feet and planted a kiss on her smooth thigh. He looked at her meaningfully and said, "Don't worry, I don't play favorites. After I've won over the little one, I'll take care of the big one too." Isabel was a smart woman. She knew instantly that he was indirectly talking about how he would manage his relationship with her and Lily. "You little bastard, always wanting your cake, and eating it too," Isabel complained, a hint of jealousy and playful annoyance in her voice. "You really are a player." Leo casually wrapped an arm around her waist and said solemnly, "I may be a player, but I'm serious about everyone I'm with. So, will you get tired of us someday? Me and Maddie." Isabel's voice suddenly grew quiet. She looked at him with a complex expression, her usually gentle eyes now holding a trace of fear. If Leo were to leave her, Everything he had brought into her life, the happiness and warmth she had dreamed of for years, would shatter into pieces. Leo kissed her deeply, holding it for a long moment before pulling back to look in her eyes. "Never," he said with raw emotion. "If my heart were to break into a million pieces, the biggest one would always belong to you, Isabel." Even though she was divorced with a 6-year-old daughter, a situation that many men would see as taking on baggage, Leo wasn't heartless. Over these past months, he had genuinely grown to care for his gentle, kind-hearted landlady. Even if he became rich and powerful someday, he would never leave her, because she was his first. And the importance of a man's first woman could not be measured. "Then you better remember what you just said. From now on, you're stuck with me and Maddie." Isabel sounded as dependent as a young girl who had just given herself to her boyfriend. "I won't interfere in your life from now on. I'll support you financially with whatever you need. But you can't go back on your word and abandon me and Maddie." "Don't worry. I'd walk through fire for you, Isabel," Leo promised solemnly. He then held up his pinky finger. "Should we call Maddie over and make a family pinky promise?" "You're impossible." Isabel playfully slapped his arm, a gentle, gratified smile on her face. "But now that you're with that girl, you have to be good to her. She's so innocent, and her family situation is tough. I'll support her financially, and you can support her emotionally." Isabel's voice was tinged with guilt as she continued. "When you two get married, I'll pick out a bigger house for you. Then I'll move in with you." Wait. Isabel was getting carried away, and Leo had to stop her. "Isabel, I haven't touched her. We just started seeing each other." Isabel looked surprised. You haven't? Are you serious?" The day Lily moved in, Isabel had seen the incredible gifts nature had bestowed upon the poor girl. With her beautiful face and unbelievably exaggerated figure, Isabel found it hard to believe Leo hadn't made a move. "Why would I lie? If I slept with her right after we met, wouldn't that make me a genuine scumbag?" Leo retorted, then muttered to himself, "At the very least, we need to get to know each other a little better first." "Well, that's surprising." Isabel looked at him with a strange sort of admiration. "A girl that pretty with a body like that, and with your impulsive nature, it's a miracle you haven't touched her." Leo was speechless. "Anyway, I meant what I said. I won't meddle in your life. But if you do sleep with her, you have to treat her right," Isabel said seriously. "After you get married, you'd better settle down. Don't you dare break her heart. Just live a good life with her, and with me and Maddie. I've looked into her family situation. In a few days, I'll go to the hospital and talk to her grandmother, see if there's anything they need help with," Isabel added guiltily. "Consider it my way of making it up to her." Why does this speech sound so familiar? Leo thought to himself. Do all older women lecture people this way? "All right, Isabel, I get it." Not wanting to hear any more, Leo quickly changed the subject. "You should go get changed. We have to take Maddie to preschool, remember?" "Fine." Sensing his impatience, Isabel tactfully got up and went to the bedroom to change. "Marriage," Leo sighed, a mix of amusement and frustration on his face. He felt both lost and strangely expectant about the future. "With all the crap I've got going on, marriage is probably not in the cards for me." "Big one, little one, come and get breakfast." Isabel called from the kitchen, carrying 2 steaming bowls of egg noodles to the living room. "Huh, you know how to braid hair." Isabel touched the neat little braids in her daughter's hair, looking at Leo in surprise. "What do you think?" Leo retorted. "My parents left my 2 little sisters in my care since we were kids. I was basically in charge of their food, clothes, everything. Braiding hair is nothing." "Haha, well, it sounds like you love your sisters very much." Isabel smiled warmly and ruffled her daughter's hair. "Maddie, from now on, if Leo's here, you can let him do your hair, okay?" The little girl's eyes sparkled. She nodded enthusiastically, chopsticks in hand. Okay. All right, you 2 eat first." Aren't you eating?" "I had strawberries earlier. I'm not very hungry right now." Isabel turned, her eyes full of seductive charm as she looked at Leo. "You've dressed the little one. Doesn't the big one get to get dressed up, too?" Go on, get out of here," Leo said with a laugh, waving her away. It felt like after last night, his landlady had become a completely different person. But this version of her had its own unique flavor. They waited in the living room for over 20 minutes. Maddie, with her little backpack on, was starting to stomp her feet impatiently by the time Isabel was finally ready. The moment she stepped out of the bedroom, even Leo was stunned. She was wearing a black, silk, straight-cut dress. A pair of sheer black stockings hugged her long, well-proportioned legs, and her fair, delicate feet were slipped into a pair of open-toed high heels, revealing perfectly rounded toes with red nail polish. It was an indescribably alluring sight. Isabel was already beautiful, but this stylish outfit added a whole new layer of sexy charm. The biggest change, however, was in her aura. A person's aura truly reflects their inner spirit, and Leo was living proof of that. Before, Isabel had the gentle presence of a kind older sister. Now, she possessed both the ripe, mature charm of a married woman and the confident, captivating allure of a femme fatale. Of course, Leo's contributions to this transformation could not be ignored. It was simple biology. When a woman is constantly radiant, with a healthy glow and a keen interest in her appearance, it means her man loves her deeply and consistently satisfies her. Only a woman basking in long-term happiness could possess such a confident and beauty-loving personality. Isabel elegantly swept her long hair over her shoulder and smiled confidently at Leo. "Do I look good?" The little girl raised her hands and shouted, "You do. Mommy is so pretty." "Silly girl, I wasn't asking you." Isabel chuckled, then winked at Leo, her voice teasing. "Do I look good, darling?" The endearment sent a jolt through Leo. He rushed forward, swept her into his arms, and kissed her passionately. Amid Maddie's cheers, he spun her around several times. Finally, right in front of Maddie, he planted a firm kiss on Isabel's cheek and praised her sincerely. "Mommy is so beautiful. Right, Maddie?" "Oh, you're so annoying." Isabel's face was beet red as she patted his arm, but her hands held onto him tightly. The look of blissful dependency in her eyes was practically overflowing. While they were kissing, the little girl had covered her face with her hands, peeking through her fingers. Hearing Leo's voice, she dropped her hands and cheered. "Uh-huh, Mommy is very pretty, and Leo is very strong. I want to spin too." Leo corrected her. "Hey, it's not about being strong. It's called boyfriend energy." "Boyfriend energy?" The little girl tilted her head, confused by the new term. But Isabel's heart swelled with happiness. That one phrase had closed the age gap between them. It was Leo's way of saying she looked young. Such is the power of words. Leo drove the Mercedes Isabel had bought him, taking the mother and daughter to Blue Heron Preschool in the city center. It was the most luxurious preschool in Portland, putting even some top universities to shame. Its halls were filled with the children of the city's elite. "Leo, I just realized Valentine's Day is coming up," Isabel said out of the blue. "What are your plans with that girl?" "I want to go to." Maddie piped up from the back seat, raising her hands eagerly. "I want to go out with Leo." "Hush, what does a little girl like you know?" Isabel said with a laugh. "You get excited whenever you hear the word play. You have to go to Ms. Lee's for piano practice on Saturday." "Oomph." The little girl crossed her arms and puffed out her cheeks, pretending to be angry. "Valentine's Day?" Leo gripped the steering wheel, his tone surprised. "When is that?" "This Saturday." "Don't tell me you didn't know," Isabel said, annoyed by his clueless expression. "Since you've won Lily over, you should treat her properly. You can't be ignorant of important holidays like this." Leo told the truth. "I've been single for so long, I'm just not used to it yet." On previous Valentine's Days, Leo would usually spend the day gaming, then scroll through TikTok at night, torturing himself with videos of happy couples. Now that he had girlfriends, plural, the sudden arrival of the holiday hadn't quite sunk in. It was a dawning realization. "Oh, right. I have to celebrate Valentine's Day with my girlfriend now." It suddenly dawned on him why Lily had asked to go to Cathedral Point with him on Saturday. She was clearly looking forward to the holiday. Chloe would definitely want to do something with him too. He was going to have to split himself in two. As for his landlady, the fact that she kept bringing it up meant she was also hoping for a little romance with him. How am I going to handle this? Leo scratched his head in frustration. For a moment, he had no idea what to do. If only Valentine's Day could last for 3 days, then he could spend time with each of them. "So, where are you planning to take her?" Isabel asked again, as if emphasizing the point. 1. The practical approach. How about I take Lily to Cathedral Point in the morning, hang out with Chloe in the afternoon, and then come spend the evening with you? 2. The devoted approach. I'll find an excuse to ditch them and spend the whole day with you and Maddie. How does that sound? 3. The wild card approach. Simple. You drop Maddie off at Ms. Lee's, and I'll bring the other 2 over to your place. We'll have a massive party. I'll take Lily out in the morning for a bit. Maybe have a nice romantic meal, Leo said, taking Isabel's hand and looking at her deeply. Then, when I get back at night, we can create our own private world. I'm so old. Isn't that a little inappropriate? Isabel mumbled, a little shy. Isabel, why do you always say that? Leo didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You're 36, not 46 or 56. You're gorgeous. You have an amazing body, and you have me. Why can't you celebrate Valentine's Day? Right, Maddie? In situations like this, Maddie's validation was crucial. Leo glanced back at the wide-eyed little girl. Isn't your mom young and beautiful? Prettier than any of those movie stars on TV? Uh-huh. The little girl nodded happily. Well, okay, then, Isabel said with a reluctant smile, then began planning with obvious excitement. Then Maddie doesn't have to go to piano on Saturday. I'll cook something special at home in the evening, and the three of us can celebrate Valentine's Day when you get back. Ding! Isabel Vance's affinity has increased by 10 points. Current affinity, 100. Affinity is now maxed out. Yay! Mommy's the best. The little girl had no idea what Valentine's Day was, but a Saturday without piano practice that she could spend with Leo and her mom was cause for celebration. Isabel had taken so long to get ready that by the time Leo drove to Blue Heron Preschool, Maddie was already half an hour late. But it was just preschool. Academics weren't that serious. It wasn't like college, where students were clawing over each other for grades. For a child like Maddie, the most important thing was to be happy and have a wonderful childhood. The moment they reached the school gate, however, the previously cheerful little girl became gloomy. She dragged her empty cartoon backpack, looking back at them every few steps. Maddie, if you feel like learning, learn. If not, just eat a big lunch. Being happy is what's most important, Leo called out to her small figure with a smile. Remember, your mom paid good money for you to be here, so I'll be back to pick you up this afternoon. Ha ha ha. Leo's goofy comment made a few of the other parents dropping off their kids burst out laughing. Even the security guard at the gate couldn't help but chuckle. Exactly. What can kids really learn at this age? Happiness is key. A man in a business suit chimed in, agreeing wholeheartedly with Leo. He yelled to his own son inside the school. Son, remember, happiness is what matters. If you can't handle school, Dad will take you home to watch cartoons. Okay. A smile is contagious for a child. Maddie happily called back, and her steps toward the preschool became much lighter. Oh, that mouth of yours. I swear, Isabel said, also laughing at Leo's antics. She linked her arm with his, and they walked back to the Mercedes, closer than ever. With the child's business settled, it was time for the adults. Isabel was in the prime of her life, and Leo was a young man at the peak of his vigor. The moment they got home, Leo pushed her onto the sofa and kissed her passionately. The weather was warm today, and after a few moments of fiery passion, a fine sheen of sweat coated Isabel's neck. Leo, you make me feel so happy, she whispered, cupping his face. It was the most honest confession of her heart, a confession unique to a mature, captivating woman like her. The best is yet to come. Wait, let's go to the bedroom. Isabel's heart was pounding, her face flushed as she glanced at the apartment building across the way. I didn't even close the curtains. What if someone sees? Don't worry, everyone's probably at work at this hour, Leo said, leaning down. Little bastard. That evening, after having dinner with Isabel and Maddie at a Cantonese restaurant, Leo got home and was trying to figure out how to survive the impending Valentine's Day gauntlet when a video call from Chloe popped up. The moment he answered, Chloe's face filled the screen. She blinked her clear, expectant eyes and got straight to the point. Leo, my pig, are you free on Saturday? Let's go to Cascade Peaks Amusement Park. Chloe didn't mention what day Saturday was. It was her little way of being coy. She wanted Leo to bring it up, so she could pretend he was the one who had invited her out for Valentine's Day. Cascade Peaks. As a Portland native, Leo certainly knew the place. It was the largest amusement park in the area, a legacy of the once dominant Miller Group. When it first opened, they had hired a slew of famous celebrities for endorsements, and now it was a must-visit tourist spot. But it was far from his apartment, a 2-hour drive each way, meaning at least 4 hours in the car. He wouldn't have any time left for the other two. You know it? You must have seen the ads for it on TikTok, too, Chloe said happily, launching into a detailed explanation of their potential itinerary. About that, Chloe, Leo interrupted, his inner actor taking over as he feigned a troubled expression. You have something on? Chloe's cheerful face immediately fell with disappointment. I was looking at guides on TikTok, and so many couples are going there on Saturday. What could possibly be more important? She was practically spelling it out for him, abandoning all pretense of being coy. It's my novel, Leo explained with a helpless sigh. I've been so busy thinking about you and texting you lately that I haven't had any focus for writing. I'm so many chapters behind on my updates. My readers and my editor are all on my case. They said if I keep slacking off, they won't feature my book next month. Fortunately, Chloe didn't know much about web fiction authors, nor did she know that Leo was a writing machine. He had enough of a backlog to cover updates for the next several months. He could ignore the book for a while and be perfectly fine. Oh, is that all? Well, you should focus on your work then. Your career is important. We could just go on Sunday instead, Chloe said, her smile returning as she started reassuring him. Don't look so stressed. I'm not an unreasonable girlfriend. I'm not going to drag you out if you have work to do, am I? My thing isn't that urgent, Leo quickly clarified. I just have to work in the morning and at night. My afternoon is free. We just can't go anywhere too far. Really? That's great. Then we won't go to Cascade Peaks. Hearing that he could still hang out on Saturday, Chloe's mood brightened considerably. I'll look on TikTok right now for places closer to us. You'll come pick me up on Saturday, right? Definitely. After hanging up, Leo let out a deep breath, grateful to have such an understanding girlfriend. With Chloe sorted, it was time to deal with the sweet, simple girl next door. Lily had messaged him around 5, asking what he wanted for dinner and saying she would cook for him after her classes. At that time, Leo had just picked up Maddie with Isabel and was ordering at the Cantonese restaurant. He had thought about waiting for Lily to join them, but she had quickly refused, telling them to go ahead and not wait for her. She hated being a burden to anyone, especially making them wait an hour for her. Leo figured Lily would be easier to persuade. He walked over to her apartment and knocked on the door. Lily quickly opened it, and her face lit up with a happy smile when she saw him. What are you doing here? What? Not happy to see me? Leo tilted his head, looking down at her lovely, flower-like face with a playfully domineering expression. Lily shook her head. How could she not be happy to see the boy she thought about constantly? While he had been out to dinner with Isabel and Maddie, the innocent girl had wanted to message him more than once, just to ask when he'd be back. Came to chat, Leo said, his arm habitually finding its way around her waist as he guided her inside, closing the door behind them out of reflex. Oh, you're studying. Leo saw the math textbook on her small desk, and next to it, a slightly worn glass of steaming water. Lily answered honestly, yeah, I'm working on some problem sets. So diligent. What did you get on your SATs? Leo asked casually, picking up her glass and taking a sip of the warm water without a second thought. 1580. Cough, cough, cough. Leo choked, spraying a mist of water. He stared at the demure girl in disbelief. What did you say your score was? He couldn't believe it. This shy, anxious girl who seemed afraid of her own shadow was a bona fide genius. Lily wasn't the type to brag. Otherwise, Leo would never have believed she could achieve such a ridiculously high score. Lily handed him a tissue. Just 1580? Holy crap. Then why did you come to PSU? Leo caught himself mid-sentence and swallowed his words. Well, that's amazing. I studied my butt off for half a year and barely got into a state school. A 1580 could get you into almost any top-tier university in the country. With a little more effort, Lily could have aimed for the Ivy League. Leo guessed the reason she'd come to a school like PSU was to be able to take care of her grandmother. He didn't press the issue, not wanting to reopen a painful wound. It's not amazing at all. As he suspected, Lily's mood shifted and a small frown creased her brow. To get a score that high and end up at a place like PSU was, without exaggeration, a colossal waste of talent. There was no way Lily hadn't agonized over the choice between a better school and her grandmother. After all the years of hard work, isn't the goal to get into a good university and then use that degree to find a good job? I don't think it really matters where you go to school, Leo said, taking her hand and pulling her onto his lap. He gently guided her head to rest against his chest, comforting her softly. As long as you have the knowledge in your head, you can still find a good job after graduation. His words were purely for comfort. In the dog-eat-dog world, a good degree was, at best, a slightly more attractive accessory. If a college graduate only knew what they learned in the classroom and had no grasp of social dynamics or emotional intelligence, they wouldn't make much of a splash in the real world. They'd be lucky to find a job that paid the bills. This was especially true for a shy girl like Lily, who struggled with normal social interaction. With her timid personality, even with a top-tier degree, she would likely be crushed by the complexities of the professional world. These days, plenty of highly educated graduate students, full of self-importance, believe that their academic knowledge and prestigious degrees would guarantee them six-figure salaries right out of college, placing them at the top of the food chain. But after a short time in the real world, the confidence most students prided themselves on is shattered by harsh reality. The messy, complicated professional world is a far cry from the protective bubble of academia. If it weren't, Leo wouldn't have holed himself up at home writing novels for a living. Of course, this wasn't to say that education was useless. It was just a simple truth. You couldn't just be book smart. You had to learn to combine academic knowledge with social intelligence. That's why you see so many successful entrepreneurs who barely finished high school. Lily murmured, leaning against his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. Her gloomy mood gradually began to lift. Wait a second. Leo held her steady by her waist, his hands gently squeezing the soft flesh there and on her thighs. Have you put on some weight recently? He asked curiously. The atmosphere had become too heavy, so he threw out a random topic to distract her. Oh, really? As expected, women were incredibly sensitive about their weight. Even a girl as simple as Lily looked panicked. She glanced down at her body, instinctively pinching the softness at her waist. Then I'll eat less from now on, she said in a small voice, a pleading look in her eyes, as if afraid he'd be angry with her. Don't, Leo said, shaking his head firmly. I like your body just the way it is. No dieting. You hear me? Lily was already a bit taller than the average girl. A few extra pounds wouldn't affect her looks at all. If anything, it would make her seem even more full-figured, which meant she'd be even better to hold. Okay, I understand, she said, visibly relieved. She sat quietly on his lap, occasionally stealing nervous glances at him. The intimacy of their position was making her feel a little overwhelmed. Then Leo dropped the real reason for his visit. On Saturday, I might have something I need to do. Lily, who had just been basking in their closeness, saw her happy expression plummet. But she wasn't the type to be difficult or throw a tantrum, especially not with a boy she liked. She forced a smile. That's okay. I can study that day. You go do what you need to do. Don't worry about me. I'm busy in the afternoon and evening, but my morning is free, Leo said with a smile. Are you planning to study in the morning, too? Or do you want to hang out with me? I do, Lily blurted out, her voice much louder than usual. Leo feigned confusion. Huh, but didn't you just say you had to study? I can study at night. I don't have anything to do in the morning. The more Lily spoke, the more agitated she became, terrified that he would take her at her word and not let her spend Valentine's Day with him. When she saw the teasing grin on his face, she finally realized she had fallen into another one of his traps. She lowered her head in embarrassment and muttered, Can you please stop teasing me like that? Seeing her pouty, wounded expression tugged at Leo's heart. He reached up and stroked her smooth, beautiful cheek. Geez, you really are a sweet dummy, you know that, baby? Don't call me a dummy, she complained, but she leaned into his touch, her soft cheek rubbing against his large hand like a pampered cat. My nails are getting long, Leo said, looking at his fingers. He glanced around the room, then patted her soft thigh. Do you have any clippers? Can you trim them for me? I don't want to accidentally scratch you. I do, Lily nodded. She got up, retrieved a pair of clippers from a drawer, and then, by reflex, sat back down on his lap. Her full, round bottom pressed firmly against his thighs. This girl has no idea what kind of weapon she's wielding, Leo thought. The substantial feeling against his leg was almost too much. An awkward smile spread across his face, but his heart pounded with a thrilling excitement. He even shifted his leg slightly, trying to adjust the trajectory. Lily blinked curiously, not understanding why he was smiling. But when his thigh twitched, a blush crept up her cheeks. She subtly tried to shift her weight toward his knees. You're too tall. It's uncomfortable when you sit on my knees. Scoot closer, Leo said, reaching out and authoritatively pulling her back on his thighs. He held out his right hand. Go ahead. Lily took his hand, acutely aware of the sensation beneath her. Her face was so red it looked like it might burst. In a wounded tone, she said something that sounded oddly familiar to Leo. Leo, you're bad. You're bullying me. For the pure, introverted academic prodigy, this was the closest she had ever come to a practical biology lesson. It's because you're too beautiful. I can't help it, Leo murmured, wrapping his arms around her full body, just as he had with Chloe. He nuzzled her dark hair, his lips brushing against her burning hot neck as he whispered, Is that okay, baby? And no, the hand holding the clippers trembled, and her voice was thick with a choked sob. Her crimson face was a picture of pitiable distress, mixed with a profound fear of the unknown. It's okay, baby, it's... Holy crap. Leo was in the middle of seducing the trembling girl in his arms when the old chair beneath him finally gave up. With a sharp crack, one of the legs snapped. Leo had no time to react. He and Lily went down in a heap on the floor. For a moment after impact, everything went dark, and he found it hard to breathe. Leo, are you okay? Forgetting her shyness, Lily scrambled off him, pulling at his arm with a worried expression. Did you hurt anything? Leo brushed the dust from his pants and said with a wry smile, I had your airbags to cushion the fall. How could I get hurt? You're terrible. Lily's face turned red. She shot him an adorable glare and then started brushing the dust off his back. All right. I have a gaming chair in my room. I'll bring it over for you. The unfortunate accident had completely shattered the romantic mood. Leo was no longer in the mood to continue their amorous pursuit. He patted his behind in frustration and went to his apartment to get the chair. Jerk! Lily watched his retreating figure, a small, secret smile playing on her lips. Here, it's yours, Leo said, dragging the gaming chair he used to use into her room. "Come here, I'll show you how to use it." The chair had cost him over $300 and was loaded with features, far more than a standard gaming chair. It was perfect for long hours of work at a computer. After showing her how to adjust everything, Leo stared at her intently, trying to reignite the spark from before. Lily stood before him, her slightly reddened lips pressed together, her legs trembling almost imperceptibly, as if she were waiting for something. Leo reached out, about to make a move, when his eyes fell on the open math textbook on the desk and the half-finished problem set. He remembered that this brilliant prodigy had ended up at a state school just to take care of her grandmother, and his desire instantly evaporated. "Well, it's getting late. I shouldn't keep you from your studies," Leo sighed, his outstretched hand moving upward to gently caress her smooth cheek. He smiled reassuringly. "If you don't want to find a job after graduation, I'll support you for the rest of your life. You could just stay home and raise our kids. I'm heading out." With that, he turned and left her room without a backward glance. Lily stared blankly at his retreating back. She looked down at her own body, at the curve she had once considered a burden, and a sense of pride and contentment bloomed in her heart. "If it's for you," she murmured to herself, "I'm sure it would be okay." Time flew by, and soon it was Friday, the day before Valentine's Day. For the past few days, both Chloe and Lily, being PSU students, have been busy with classes. Leo's two young, beautiful girlfriends, both of them easily campus queen material in terms of looks and figure, had personalities that were polar opposites. The lively and playful Chloe would secretly text Leo during her boring lectures. As soon as she got back to her dorm, she would immediately video call him, and they would talk for hours, as if they had an endless supply of topics. Her single roommates suffered immensely, forced to witness their nauseatingly sweet digital romance. The introverted Lily wasn't nearly as outgoing. She was too shy to video call and flirt with Leo in front of others. She would bottle up her longing for him all day, and only when she was back in the privacy of her apartment would she quietly release all the affection she had stored up. Isabel, on the other hand, had been quite busy. She'd even had to ask Leo to pick up Maddie from preschool a few times. Leo didn't know what she was busy with, nor did he care to ask. If she didn't want to tell him, he wouldn't press her. Around 7 that evening, in Leo's apartment, Leo was on his phone, texting with Chloe. Lily, wearing a cartoon print apron, was bustling about in the kitchen like a perfect wife, occasionally casting a blissfully happy glance his way. To be chatting cheerfully with one woman in front of another who adored him was like dancing on the edge of a knife. But Leo knew Chloe's and Lily's personalities inside and out. Before starting his conversation with Chloe, he had made an excuse about not being able to video call, so they switched to voice messages. When Chloe sent a voice memo, Leo would convert it to text to read, ensuring Lily wouldn't notice anything amiss. When he got tired of typing, he would occasionally send a non-committal voice message back, tailored to the content of Chloe's message. This way, he could quell any suspicion from both Chloe and Lily. A perfect 2-for-1 solution. Of course, the operation was not without risk. If Lily were to suddenly walk over and look at his chat history with Chloe, the dramatic showdown he dreaded would erupt instantly. But Leo was banking on the certainty that Lily would never do such a thing, which allowed him to chat with Chloe so brazenly. "Dinner's ready," Lily called from the kitchen. Leo typed a quick message to Chloe. "Okay, my mom's calling me for dinner. Talk to you tonight. Elf Princess. Okay. Remember to pick me up from school tomorrow afternoon. Offline mode. Roger that. Elf Princess. I'm so vulgar. I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm gonna eat too." Cat scurrying away emoji. Lily brought 2 fragrant dishes to the small table and then looked at Leo. "There's no beer in the fridge. Do you want me to go downstairs and buy some?" Although it was autumn, the past few days had been warm, and Leo had gotten into the habit of having a beer every day. Lily would always pick some up for him from the convenience store by the complex entrance on her way home from school. Leo nonchalantly turned off his phone screen. "Not today. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. We should both get to bed early, so we have plenty of energy to go out and have fun." "Okay," Lily agreed expectantly, pulling up a chair to sit beside him. Just then, his phone buzzed with another notification. Thinking it was Chloe again, Leo calmly put down his chopsticks, picked up his phone, and opened the message. "Island Snow. Leo, I think I might be a pervert. What do I do?" "What do you mean? What's wrong?" The message from the daughter of Portland's wealthiest man left Leo completely baffled. He had just started typing a reply when she initiated a video call. Panicked Leo immediately declined it. He had no real relationship with Eleanor, but he didn't want to video chat with any girl in front of Lily and arouse her suspicion. Offline mode. Eating dinner. Talk later. After sending the message, Leo turned his phone off completely. He turned to Lily with a look of feigned annoyance. That was my sister, probably calling to ask for money again. She's so annoying. Lily loved hearing about Leo's life and eagerly took the bait. Leo, you have sisters? Yeah, 2 of them, Leo said calmly, putting some food on Lily's plate. I'll introduce you to them sometime. Okay. Lily agreed expectantly, not suspecting a thing. Leo made a mental note to avoid talking about his sisters with Lily in the future. After Chloe's visit to his family's house, his sisters were convinced that Chloe was his one and only girlfriend. If Lily were to suddenly appear on the scene, there was no telling what kind of chaotic drama the 2 of them might stir up. After dinner, Leo helped Lily with the dishes and then gently shooed her back to her apartment to study. The moment he closed the door, he turned his phone back on, opened his messages, and found over 20 unread notifications from Eleanor. What the hell is going on with her? Leo thought, bewildered. He opened the chat, and his jaw dropped. Island Snow. Ever since I checked out that website you sent me, I bought a lot of special toys. I tried some of the things from the videos, and it felt really weird. Island Snow. I asked some people online, and they said I have submissive tendencies. Like a masochist. A lot of them call me a pervert. Below these messages were a series of photos Eleanor had taken of herself, close-ups of her arms and legs. They were covered in faint marks, nothing deep, the kind that would fade in a few days. Huh? Leo stared at the messages, scratching his head so hard he felt like his brain might pop out. As a longtime denizen of the internet, he had seen plenty of people with these kinds of special interests on adult forums. The BDSM community was huge. There were countless people like that all over the world. It wasn't a big deal. But the daughter of Portland's richest man being into getting spanked? That was a little surreal. Island Snow. Leo, are you done with dinner yet? Offline mode. Just finished. Are those bruises in the pictures from you? Anxious face with sweat. Island Snow, yeah. I want to tell my parents, but then I looked it up online, and everyone said it was a perverted thing to do. So, I didn't dare. What am I going to do now? 1. Threaten her. You wouldn't want your parents to find out you're into this kind of thing, would you? 2. Reassure her. Don't worry about it too much. It's just a specific kind of kink, not a psychological disorder. Nothing to be concerned about. 3. Coach her. How about we meet up in person? I can teach you some even more exciting games. Damn it, system. There you go again, Leo thought. Options 1 and 3 made his mouth go dry in the middle of the night. This was the daughter of Portland's richest man, and a girl who was into BDSM. If he actually followed through on either of those options, he couldn't even imagine how wild things would get. Offline mode. Don't worry about it too much. It's just a specific kind of kink, not a psychological disorder. There are tons of people all over the world who are just like you. Island Snow, really? Have you ever played with wax? Holy crap. She's already playing with wax? Leo sat up straight, his respect for her growing. Aren't you afraid of the pain? Island Snow. I bought the special low-temperature kind. It doesn't really hurt. Offline mode. Faint from the intensity of this master's gameplay. Island Snow. Leo, am I a pervert now? Offline mode. Not at all. Just a little. Unique. Don't stress about it. Think of it like a hobby, like badminton or something. Just one you have to enjoy in private. Island Snow, really? My behavior isn't weird? Offline mode. Not at all. I have a thing for legs, and I don't think that's weird. And by that, I mean I'm really into a girl's legs. That kind of hobby. Island Snow. Wow. Yours sounds even more serious. Offline mode. Offline mode. Ahem, well, we're 2 peas in a pod then. Misery loves company. Our hobbies are just the kind we can't talk about in public, so don't worry about it. Smiling face with sunglasses. Island Snow, okay, good. I was worried I had some kind of mental illness. Offline mode. But like I said, it's fine as a hobby, but you can't tell people in the real world about it. Everyone's tastes are different. Island Snow, okay, I get it. Thank you, Leo. And so, Leo found another topic to chat about with Eleanor for the next 2 hours. Ding. Eleanor Hayes' affinity has increased by 10 points. Current affinity, 30. Keep up the good work. Offline mode. Alright, it's getting late. You should get some sleep. And remember to enjoy your hobby in moderation. By 11, Leo was done talking. He and Eleanor didn't really have anything else in common to discuss. The one topic they could continue on would just keep him up all night, hard and bothered. Island Snow. Leo, I'm very interested in you. Can we meet in person? Offline mode. Sure, but just so you know I have a girlfriend. Even though he was a player with a system on his side, Leo knew Eleanor was interested in him. The 30 affinity points were proof enough, but he didn't dare try to mess with her. She was the precious daughter of Portland's richest man. If her parents found out and had him investigated, they'd discover he was 2-timing and raise hell. He'd be lucky to stay in the country. Island Snow. You have a girlfriend? Offline mode. Yep. So let's just be friends. And it's probably best if we just stick to chatting online. Ding. Eleanor Hayes' affinity has increased by 5 points. Current affinity, 35. Keep up the good work. Wait, what? I told her I have a girlfriend, and her affinity went up? An affinity score of 30 was more than enough to prove that Eleanor was interested in him. You could even say she a crush. If he made even a small move, he could probably win her over. What shocked him was that after learning he had a girlfriend, she wasn't disappointed. Instead, her affinity had actually increased. Could it be? A thought struck him. He quickly typed, "That website I sent you. What's your favorite genre?" "Island Snow. I like the BDSM and NTR stuff." "Is there a problem?" "Holy crap. She's an NTR enthusiast." Leo was completely stunned. What was with this girl? She had managed to pick up all of the most niche, taboo kinks out there. Could this get any more absurd? Offline mode. So when you watch NTR stuff, you get excited when you see the main girl get stolen by another man? Island Snow. Uh-huh. Leo, how did you know? Damn. She actually identifies with the cuck-queen role, Leo thought, rubbing his head, at a complete loss for words. He'd seen plenty of guys who were into cuckolding, but this was his first time meeting a girl who was into it. This explained why her affinity had gone up when she found out he had a girlfriend. She was putting herself in the shoes of the one being cheated on, getting a thrill from the taboo feeling of having her beloved stolen away. Island Snow. Growing up, I never had anything taken from me. When I saw that genre, I suddenly realized that the idea of someone taking something I love is really exciting. Is that weird? Leo replied, his conscience taking a back seat. Not weird at all, but you absolutely cannot tell anyone else about these kinks. Everyone's tastes are different. Island Snow. Okay, I get it. So, can we meet in person? I really want to get to know you. Offline mode. We'll see when I have time. I'm gonna go shower. You should get some sleep. Island Snow. Okay, good night, Leo. The rich really do have different hobbies, Leo thought, lying in bed. He couldn't believe the daughter of Portland's richest man was such a bizarre and fascinating person. Of course, it wasn't her fault. From their conversations, Leo got the impression that she was an open book, polite, a bit of sweet dummy who would answer any question honestly. He guessed her parents' upbringing was to blame. She had said herself that she didn't like them much, that they treated her like a canary in a gilded cage, never letting her explore her own interests. Even her friends had to be vetted by bodyguards. Under that kind of inhuman, almost pathologically overprotective parenting, Eleanor had grown into a strange hybrid of a person. On the surface, she was normal, polite, and beautiful, skilled in all the things a proper young lady should be. In reality, her psyche was a mess, like a puppet with no will of its own. She almost certainly knew she liked him, but she had no idea how to express it. No one had ever taught her how. She didn't have a lifelong best friend like Chloe had in Maya to guide her. It was probably only because her parents had loosened their grip since she returned to the country that she was now desperately exploring her own interests. It was just that her direction of study was a little off-center. I guess being too rich really is a curse sometimes. Leo sighed deeply, rolled over, and quickly fell asleep. The next morning, Leo woke up feeling refreshed and full of energy. Today was Valentine's Day, and he had to spend it with 3 different people. His schedule was tight. He couldn't afford to waste a single minute. Looks like a beautiful day, Leo said to himself, looking out the window at the bright, sunny weather, feeling a strange sense of excitement. He had just finished brushing his teeth when a message from Lily came through. Lasting peace. Leo, are you awake? I bought you breakfast. Well, someone's even more eager than I am, Leo thought with a fond smile. He typed back, just woke up. Come on over. Rose lasting peace. Okay. Smiling face with smiling eyes. If Chloe had sent that emoji, he would have known it was a flirty gesture. Coming from Lily, it meant she was genuinely shy. A few moments later, there was a soft knock on the door. Leo didn't even have to ask who it was. Only Lily knocked, so timidly. Hey, good morning, he said, opening the door. Lily stood there, a vision of loveliness, holding a bag of still warm breakfast. Her flower-like face wore its usual expression of shy happiness. Oh crap. Leo's eyes widened when he saw what was in her left hand. A gift box tied with a red ribbon. It was obviously a Valentine's gift for him. He had meant to buy her something last night, but he'd gotten so caught up chatting with Eleanor that he'd completely forgotten. Lily came inside, placed the breakfast on the table, and then, after a moment of hesitation, mustered up her courage. She walked over to him with the gift box, looking as nervous as if she were about to confess her love. Leo, happy Valentine's Day. This is for you. Please, will you accept it? Oh yeah, of course. Thank you, Leo said, taking it automatically. His eyes darted around the room, desperately searching for something, anything he could give her in return. He could make an excuse, or even just admit he hadn't gotten her anything. Lily probably wouldn't even be mad. She was the type who loved to give to him without expecting anything in return. But if he did that, he would be a total failure as a player. and a complete asshole. Seeing that he wasn't opening the box, Lily asked quietly, Aren't you going to open it and see? Right, let's see what you got me. With a mix of anxiety and warmth, Leo opened the box. Inside was a fluffy, purple, hand-knitted scarf. It's getting colder now that it's fall, Lily explained earnestly, her fingers twisting together anxiously as she watched him. I've been knitting it for the past few days. Do you like it? A notification materialized in Leo's vision. 1. Scornful complaint. Seriously? Who gives a hand-knitted scarf in this day and age? Are you trying to prove you're some kind of master knitter? It's so old-fashioned. 2. Satisfied praise. This is really nice. So thoughtful, babe. It's been getting colder lately, and I was just about to buy one. 3. Passionate embrace. The scarf is nice, but I want more. It's Valentine's Day, so just give yourself to me, babe. I'll take care of you for the rest of our lives. This is really nice. So thoughtful, babe, Leo said, selecting the second option. It's been getting colder lately, and I was just about to buy one. He took the scarf out of the gift box and handed it back to Lily, then leaned forward, craning his neck. Here, help me put it on. It's been years since I've worn one of these. In years past, no matter how cold it got, Leo had never bothered with winter accessories. He'd held a naive belief that it was childish for a man to bundle up like that. It was a surprisingly common, if immature, rebellious thought among young men. His mother, Sharon, had lectured him about it countless times growing up. Okay, Lily whispered. She took the scarf and delicately draped it around his neck. With the patient care of a seasoned wife, she slowly tied it, her exquisite face flushed with a shy, satisfied smile. Seeing her looking so much like a bashful, blooming flower, Leo felt a stir in his heart. He couldn't resist leaning in and planting a soft, quick kiss on her rosy lips. He pulled back with a playful glint in his eye. What are you looking at? You got a problem with that? Go on, bite me. Don't move, Lily murmured, her hands pausing. She looked at his grinning face, so close to hers, and pouted, giving him a look that was both shy and reproachful. Still, she gently finished tying the scarf. Once it was done, she carefully picked a few stray white threads from its surface, then asked, her voice a mix of nervousness and anticipation, What do you think? Is it warm? Too big? Too small? It's warm. And the size is perfect, Leo said with a satisfied nod. The scarf's texture was a bit coarse, and it wasn't as warm as the designer brands in stores, but Lily had made it with her own 2 hands, stitch by stitch. He was too touched to even think about finding fault. Good, Lily said, smiling with relief. She hesitated for a moment, then looked at him and asked quietly, Leo, it's a holiday. Kan Iyukio. Forget the hug, Leo said, feigning disinterest with a shake of his head. Why don't we just spend the night together? You can hug me however you want then. I won't stop you. Lily's face turned bright red as she waved her hands frantically. No, that's okay. A hug is enough. Come on, Leo said, generously opening his arms. He gently pulled her into his embrace, teasing. What are you, a little kid? Always needing a hug. I just do, Lily murmured, a rare moment of pouting coyness directed at him. She nuzzled against his chest, making him chuckle, half exasperated, half amused. After lingering in his arms for a moment, thinking about the special day, Lily summoned her courage and whispered a confession. Leo, I like you. Will you be my boyfriend? The way their relationship had started was so complicated and hazy. She wanted to make it official on a day like this. After everything we've done, you still need to ask? Leo didn't answer directly, a slightly apologetic smile on his face. Besides, I'm always messing with you. My hands are all over you all the time. Are you sure you want me as your boyfriend? I like it when you mess with me, Lily said, a clear note of urgency in her voice. She pressed herself against him, a subtle attempt to remind him of her most prominent assets. It was the first time Leo had seen her so forward and eager, but he still didn't give her a direct answer. He just stroked her hair gently, a teasing comment on his lips. Hey, no using your assets as a weapon. Leo, please, will you be my boy for... Oh, right, I got you something too. Wait here, Leo interrupted, decisively letting her go. He turned and went back to his room, emerging with a red box. The box had the words Nature's Bounty printed on it and was filled with an assortment of gourmet snacks. He'd ordered it from Amazon last week for movie nights. At this critical moment, with nothing else to give her, he didn't want to waste the romantic atmosphere. So the snack box it was. I know you're always studying, so I figured you could use some snacks when you get bored, Leo said, feeling a bit embarrassed himself. Happy Valentine's Day, babe. Do you like it? In today's materialistic world, if a guy dared to give his girlfriend a box of snacks on a major holiday, her friends would have a field day, even if she didn't mind. A particularly harsh friend might even call him a cheapskate and tell her to dump the guy immediately. But when Lily saw the bright red box and the cute squirrel logo, her face lit up with a thrilled, joyous smile. I love it. Thank you, Leo. After taking the box with excitement, she examined it as if it were a precious treasure, then asked in a worried whisper, "This box is kind of heavy, Leo. It wasn't too expensive, was it?" Her sincerity and her worried question made Leo's already guilty conscience squirm. "No, not expensive. It's a holiday, right? Being happy is what matters." "That's good," Lily said, relieved. She took out her new iPhone, opened the camera with a slightly unfamiliar touch, and beamed as she snapped a picture of the red box. Leo asked curiously, "What are you doing?" Lily held the box in one arm and her phone in the other, saying shyly, I want to post it on my profile. Is that okay?" Leo was speechless. Initially, Leo had planned to take Lily somewhere farther away. But time was tight, and Chloe was already texting him, asking if he was done and when he was coming to pick her up. So, after a quick meal at a spicy hot pot restaurant, he drove straight to Cathedral Point at the far end of the commercial district. On a romantic holiday like today, most couples flock to the bustling city centers to celebrate. Riverwalk Plaza and Pioneer Square, Portland's two liveliest spots, were especially packed. The reason was simple. The areas were saturated with hotels, leaving couples with plenty of options for where to end their night. Cathedral Point Park, on the other hand, was one of Portland's lesser-known spots. On a day meant for crowds, the sparsely populated beach felt desolate. Not even a handful of kids were flying kites. The view was nothing but an endless stretch of sand and crashing waves. The chilly sea breeze hit them, making the place feel even more isolated, as if they were cut off from the rest of the world. "Maybe we should drive over to Riverwalk Plaza?" Leo asked tentatively. It was his first Valentine's Day with Lily, and he felt guilty for bringing her to such a deserted place. "No, this is perfect," Lily said, shaking her head gently as she tightened her grip on his arm. Lily had always lived quietly in her own little world. She didn't like to bother people, and she wasn't fond of overly loud or crowded environments. That was why last week she had suggested this very spot for their Valentine's Day date. To put it simply, she just wanted to be alone with Leo, somewhere quiet where no one else was around. "I never would have guessed," Leo teased. "You seem so reserved, but you're actually a romantic. Already planning our own private world." Lily's face reddened, but she didn't say anything. That was exactly what she had been thinking. "Let's go. A walk on the beach," Leo said, taking her soft hand. They stepped onto the fine sand, leaning into the cool breeze as they walked toward the vast, open sea. The weather was decent, though it was a bit colder by the water. Thankfully, they were dressed warmly, and huddled together as they were, they didn't feel the chill. When they were together, Leo was always the one talking, rambling on about anything and everything, while Lily listened patiently by his side. Whenever he turned the conversation to her, Lily, with her non-existent social skills, would grow serious and tense, carefully considering how to answer. "I remember you have a sister, right? What's her name?" Leo asked. "Is she back home or here in Portland? Who's taking care of her?" "Her name is Grace. She's still back home, in kindergarten. She'll start first grade after the new year," Lily answered honestly. "My aunt is looking after her. I send her money for living expenses every month." "I see," Leo said, pausing for a moment before asking gently. "Do you miss her? Do you want to bring her to Portland?" "No. The cost of living here is too high, and school is so expensive," Lily said, shaking her head without a second thought. Then she added with a grateful smile, "Leo, I know you mean well, but ever since you helped me pay off my grandmother's medical bills, my life hasn't been so hard." No good deed goes unpunished, right?" Leo said with a casual shrug. "All right, it's up to you. But if you ever need my help, just ask." "Okay, thank you," Lily replied softly, her gratitude tentative. "Don't worry about it," Leo said with a wave of his hand. He discreetly slipped his hand into his pocket and turned off his phone, which had been vibrating nonstop on silent. "Don't worry about it," she thought, recalling how he had deliberately changed the subject when she confessed, and how he wasn't teasing her now like he used to. The light in Lily's eyes dimmed. Just like with Chloe before, Leo and Lily strolled along the beach until they reached a rocky outcrop. "All right, let's head back," Leo said, checking the time. It was almost noon. Chloe had already sent several frantic texts. If he didn't end this date soon, she might just take an Uber and come find him. Lily stood motionless, seemingly deaf to his words, her head bowed in sorrow as she stared at the ground. "What's wrong?" Leo asked, leaning down to see her face. In the next second, Lily kissed him. It was a sudden, clumsy, and raw kiss that caught him completely off guard. Not only that, but she took his hand and forcefully pressed it against her chest. An incredible softness bloomed against his palm. Leo figured she was just unwilling to let their Valentine's Day end so unceremoniously, which was why she was being so bold. He couldn't help but get lost in the moment with her. After more than 10 minutes, Lily's body went limp and she leaned against him, almost trembling. Her eyes, filled with a mixture of desire and fear, started to turn red, glistening with unshed tears. Leo, do you like me?" she whispered. Leo was still wondering why she had confessed to him twice today. He quickly replayed the morning in his mind and finally understood why she was so fixated on their relationship status. Lily usually came across as sweet and naive, but that was her personality, not her intellect. This was the girl who had scored a 1580 on her SATs. His blatant attempt to change the subject that morning, coupled with his failure to scold her for apologizing just now, were clear signals. Any girl would have noticed he was intentionally avoiding the topic of their relationship. How could Lily not know? She was an insecure person to begin with. His two evasions, intentional or not, were bound to make her anxious. "I do," Leo answered without a shred of hesitation. Lily froze for a second, then quickly pressed. "Then can you be my boyfriend?" "Yes," Leo said, taking her hands in his and nodding firmly. Lily stared at him, stunned, before a tearful smile broke across her face. She rubbed her reddening eyes and muttered, I was worried you didn't like bigger girls." "What? How could I not?" Leo said, half laughing, half exasperated. He comforted her. "Besides, didn't we already make things official? Why were you so worried?" "I'm sorry." After his solemn reassurance, Lily felt a pang of guilt, feeling she had been overly sensitive. In such an intimate atmosphere, comforting words were no match for a passionate kiss. As Leo's lips met hers again, his hands resumed their wandering. This time, Lily was not the shy, budding flower she usually was. Instead, she was bold and brave, showcasing the assets she had once considered a burden to the boy she loved. This simple girl had completely and utterly accepted him, the boy who was occasionally improper but always had her best interests at heart. Around 1 in the afternoon, Leo dropped Lily off at the entrance to her apartment complex. "Go on up," he said quickly. "I'll see you tomorrow." He was already late for his date with Chloe. If he didn't get to the university soon to pick her up for their Valentine's celebration, the day of love was going to turn into a day of reckoning. If you're free this afternoon, will you come back?" Lily asked, unbuckling her seatbelt slowly. The impressive curve of her chest was suddenly freed from the restraint. Her thinking was more traditional. Willing to be so intimate with him on the beach meant she already considered him her man. And with her people-pleasing personality, she felt that her earlier doubts about his feelings were wrong. She worried he might resent her for it and wanted to make it up to him. She didn't have much to offer, and today was a special day, so she had made this difficult, unspoken decision. Her implicit offer, combined with her stunning figure, made Leo seriously consider blowing Chloe off. If you do come back, just text me first," Lily said, fully aware of how shameless her words sounded. Her face flushed. She got out of the car as soon as the words were out and hurried into the complex, leaving Leo with nothing but the sight of her hair flying in the wind and her graceful retreating figure. No, not today at least, Leo reminded himself. His elf princess was waiting for him in her dorm. After a moment of internal struggle, Leo took off the scarf from his neck, decisively put the car in drive, and sped away from the complex, heading straight for Portland State. He turned his phone back on. Over 20 unread messages from Chloe. Several missed voice and video calls. "Elf princess. Leo, you pig, where are you? I saw this awesome steakhouse near Riverwalk Plaza on TikTok. I booked us a table. Let's go there. Elf princess. Piggy, why aren't you answering? Are you writing? Text me when you see this. Elf princess. Leo, it's 1 o'clock. Are you on your way? The traffic is awful today, so drive safe. Elf princess. Piggy, why aren't you picking up my calls? What are you doing? I hope nothing bad happened. Elf princess. It's 1:30, Leo. Don't tell me something really happened. I'll wait 10 more minutes. If you don't answer, I'm going to your parents' place to find you." As demanding as Chloe could be, this was her first real relationship, and she had unconditional faith that Leo wouldn't mess around on such an important day. His prolonged silence had her convinced he'd gotten into some kind of accident, like the male lead in a cheesy romance drama. Seeing her last message about going to his parents, Leo immediately started a video call. Chloe answered almost instantly. The person on the other end wasn't a stranger, but Leo's familiar face. The tension on Chloe's face visibly melted away, replaced by her usual feisty pout. "Leo, you pig. It's almost 2. What have you been doing? I thought something happened to you." "I'm so sorry, babe. I haven't been writing much lately, just couldn't get in the zone," Leo said with sincere apology. To make sure I could see you today, I got up at 4 this morning to write. I just finished the first half of my daily quota at 1:30. Oh well, that's okay then, as long as you're coming. Chloe relented, proving to be quite reasonable. All right, I won't distract you while you're driving. Be safe. I'll be waiting at the campus gate. Okay, bye babe. Be there soon. Phew. Being a player is hard work, Leo sighed in relief. Just as Chloe had shown, she wasn't an unreasonable girlfriend. As long as the excuse was solid and the apology was sincere, a little sweet-talking later would smooth over the tardiness. Plus, he had cleverly mentioned he still had half his writing to do, giving him the perfect excuse to leave later that night and complete his final Valentine's rendezvous with his landlady. Arriving at the PSU main gate, Leo spotted Chloe from a distance. She was holding a long gift box, standing gracefully under a large oak tree, periodically looking down the road for a familiar silver Mercedes. Leo honked lightly to get her attention and slowly pulled over to the curb. Hearing the horn, Chloe's heart leaped. She looked over and saw the familiar face in the driver's seat. Holding the box, she let out a haughty humph, then broke into a wide smile and jogged over. Wow, that's a big box. I wonder what she got me, Leo muttered happily to himself, trying to guess its contents. But in the next second, the smile on his face froze, then shattered. He had forgotten to buy Chloe a gift. Unlike Lily, who didn't like people making a fuss over her, this was Chloe's first Valentine's Day with him. If she showed up, heart full of joy with a carefully chosen gift, only to find him empty-handed telling her he forgot. No excuse would be good enough. She might forgive him, but she would never forget it. What do I do? What do I do? He panicked, watching her get closer. She was right there, about to open the door. He didn't have some magical treasure he could materialize out of thin air. Wait! A jolt went through him. His eyes fell on the passenger seat, on the purple scarf Lily had knitted for him. He'd taken it off while driving because it was uncomfortable. Chloe hadn't seen him wearing it on the video call. She had no idea it existed. Leo, you're a goddamn scumbag. After a moment of agonizing hesitation, Leo reached over and picked up the purple scarf. Chloe opened the passenger door and handed him the gift box, complaining playfully, "Humph, you're an hour late for our first date." After her complaint, she noticed the purple scarf in his hands and asked curiously, "What's this? Is it for me?" "Yeah, of course, babe. Happy Valentine's Day." "It's starting to get cold," Leo said, smiling as he handed the scarf to her. "I knitted it for you myself. Try it on, see if it fits. It's the first time I've ever knitted anything for a girl, so I don't know if I did it right. If it's not perfect, I can fix it." That's more like it. Hearing that it was the first time Leo had ever knitted anything for a girl, Chloe's face lit up. She took the purple scarf and examined it curiously. The texture was slightly coarse, the material wasn't particularly warm, and some of the stitching was uneven. It definitely looked handmade. "I didn't know you had this hidden talent," Chloe said, clearly pleased with the heartfelt gift. "This is great. You put a lot of thought into it, Piggy. Love you." Chloe came from a wealthy family and had plenty of her own money. A gift that showed genuine affection was far more valuable to her than any expensive jewelry. A scarf, personally knitted by Leo, was the perfect present. It commemorated their special day, and the gesture itself, knitting it because the weather was turning cold, was a testament to his love. Her only complaint was the color. Purple was a bit of an odd choice for a girl to wear. "I'm just not a huge fan of the color. If you told me you were knitting me a scarf, I would have asked for red or beige," Chloe said, taking it off with a hint of disappointment after trying on. "This purple doesn't look quite right on me. It feels like something a guy would wear. I wanted it to be a surprise. If I told you beforehand, it wouldn't have been a surprise, would it?" Leo said, admiring it with a calm expression. "I think it looks great. Purple is a very striking color." "Well, we girls tend to like cuter things," Chloe said with a wry smile. "Leo, you're such a classic clueless guy." "Huh. Well, if you don't like it, give it back. I'll knit you a new one in a different color another day." Just as Leo had hoped, Chloe wasn't a fan of the color. She was a girl who loved fashion, and her taste leaned heavily toward cute and feminine styles. Even knowing Leo had supposedly knitted it himself, she would never wear it out, no matter how much she liked him. But just as Leo reached for the scarf, Chloe folded it neatly and put it aside. No, it's fine. Don't trouble yourself," she said with a casual smile. "You worked so hard on it. I'll just keep it at home as a memento." "That works too," Leo said, not daring to push for its return. The scarf was already a suspicious gift. Only Chloe's complete trust in him kept her from questioning the details. "You'd better take good care of it," Leo said, starting the car and giving her a serious look. "I spent several sleepless nights on that." I know, Chloe said, placing the folded scarf on her lap and winking playfully. "Piggy, wanna know what I got you?" Leo glanced at the long, ribbon-wrapped box in the back seat and shook his head. No idea. What is it? Not telling, Chloe said mysteriously. When we park, you can open it yourself. You're gonna love it. I'm gonna love it. Don't tell me it's a pair of your used underwear. EW go die. Leo parked the car in the Riverwalk Plaza garage, and Chloe immediately pulled out her phone, excitedly opening the video recorder. Open it, open it. I'm recording. Holding the ribbon-wrapped box, Leo asked, half laughing. Whose gift is this, anyway? How come you're more excited than I am? Just open it, Chloe urged, pouting. I've got the camera rolling. All right. Let's see what you got me. Leo rubbed his hands together in anticipation. He excitedly tore a corner of the wrapping paper, revealing the numbers 4090. His jaw dropped. Heart pounding, Leo tore away the rest of the packaging. Just as he'd suspected, it was an RTX 4090 graphics card. A premium model, the ultimate gift for any guy who games. I know you love gaming, so I got you a new graphics card, Chloe explained, beaming with pride at his ecstatic reaction. Do you like it, Piggy? Like it? I freaking love you, babe. Leo nodded furiously. It wasn't that the 4090 was prohibitively expensive. With his current finances, he could buy a truckload of them. But this was from his girlfriend. It was a feeling of validation, of having his hobby acknowledged and supported by her. Come here. Let's get a family portrait, the three of us. Leo excitedly unbuckled his seatbelt, clutched the still warm 4090, and lunged toward Chloe. Ha. You're being ridiculous. It's just a graphics card. Chloe pushed at him, doubled over with laughter. Hey, the car is cramped. You're crushing me, you jerk. Thank you so much, babe, Leo said, lying in her soft embrace, his voice full of genuine emotion. If you don't marry me someday, I swear when I'm on my deathbed, I'll pull out a locket and the picture inside will be of you. Really? That's a bit dramatic, don't you think? Chloe said, looking at Leo nuzzling against her. She thought to herself that the guy at the electronics store had been right. If you give your boyfriend a graphics card on Valentine's Day, he stops being your boyfriend and becomes your son. Let's go, babe, time to eat. Leo sprang up, full of energy, grabbing the graphics card as he got out of the car. Wait, why are you taking the graphics card with you? Chloe asked, bewildered. Just leave it in the car. It's huge. Where are you going to carry it? I'm going to go show it off to everyone. I want them to see what you got me. What? Come on, let's go. With one arm around the graphics card and the other around Chloe's waist, Leo eagerly stepped into the elevator. It was Valentine's Day, and Riverwalk Plaza was teeming with affectionate couples. Like every year, most of the women were holding bouquets of flowers from their boyfriends, while the men were empty-handed, their wallets about to bleed for a fancy dinner or a hotel room. That was just the reality of modern dating. If a guy wanted to keep his girlfriend or win over the girl he liked, he had to be prepared to spend. And then there was Leo, strolling brazenly through the crowd with a PSU campus bell on one arm and an RTX 4090 in the other, muttering loud enough for everyone to hear. I'm not trying to criticize you, honey, but you really shouldn't buy me such expensive gifts next time. On Valentine's Day, the boyfriend is supposed to buy for the girlfriend. If my friends see you bought me something this nice, they'll talk. The hell. Every guy who saw the 4090 in Leo's arms and the stunningly beautiful woman beside him suddenly felt a pang of envy. The girlfriend on their own arm just didn't seem as impressive anymore. Chloe was mortified and amused, but also filled with an indescribable sense of pride. She put a hand to her forehead and quickly dragged the smirking Leo away from the gawking crowd. Excuse me, how much for the candied apples? I'll take two. This thing? Oh, my girlfriend bought it for me. It's a 4090 graphics card, the latest model. Sorry, man, didn't see you there. My hands are full. This box is just so big. Hey, can we get 2 drinks? 1 regular, 1 iced. Wow, it's so crowded today. I can barely find a place to set down my graphics card. To make sure everyone saw the 4090 Chloe had bought him, Leo was exceptionally loud and obnoxious, stopping just short of hoisting the box over his head and shouting through a megaphone. When he bought a bouquet of roses from a girl selling them on the street, he couldn't resist a final boast. How'd you know my girlfriend bought me a 4090 graphics card? Chloe was sitting alone at an outdoor table at a boba shop while Leo waited in line. On the table, next to the huge bouquet of red roses he'd bought her, sat his ostentatious 4090. A gift like that, something every guy dreamed of, was particularly conspicuous on a holiday traditionally reserved for giving gifts to women. It immediately drew the attention of countless men nearby. For a girl to buy her boyfriend a 4090 on Valentine's Day, it meant she really, truly liked him. It was a gift she must have spent a long time choosing. Feeling the stares of the surrounding couples, Chloe was both embarrassed and amused, but mostly, she felt a swell of pride and gratification. This was her first Valentine's Day with Leo. On TikTok, the vast majority of influencers recommended gifts for men to buy their girlfriends. Guides for what girls could buy their boyfriends were pitifully rare. To find Leo the perfect gift, Chloe had scrolled through endless videos and online stores, finally settling on this based on his hobbies. Seeing him so thrilled with the gift she had so carefully chosen made her incredibly happy. Soon, Leo returned with 2 cups of boba tea, beaming. "Here you go, babe." "Look at you, showing off," Chloe said, unable to hide her smile. She took a sip of her drink, then frowned and shook her head. "Why is it iced? I can't have anything cold today." The moment the words left her mouth, she seemed to realize their implication. A blush crept up her cheeks, and she glanced at Leo before quickly looking away, pretending to be nonchalant while secretly watching his reaction. "How was I supposed to know if you didn't tell me?" Leo exclaimed, feigning innocence, though inwardly he breathed a sigh of relief. If she couldn't have cold drinks, that meant he'd be free tonight to complete his final Valentine's engagement with his landlady. He smiled and offered her his cup. "Here, have mine. It's not iced. It's not my fault, you know." "The timing is just off," Chloe muttered under her breath, fiddling with her straw. She sounded like she was complaining, but also apologizing, creating an endearing effect. This was a common dilemma for girls in relationships. When biology intervened, there was nothing they could do. It was like a couple planning a dream vacation to the most romantic place imaginable, only for the girl's period to arrive unexpectedly the day they landed, sticking around for the entire trip. No matter how romantic the setting, the mood would inevitably be dampened. Love between a couple isn't just about sweet nothings. It's also about passionate fire. A word to the wise: if your girlfriend, in a situation like this, still makes an effort to consider your feelings, congratulations. You found a truly understanding partner. Cherish her. Leo sipped his iced boba, watching Chloe with a satisfied smile. After a long moment, he said cheekily, "Chloe, you're so thirsty. You're just after my body." "Ugh, shut up." After their walk and drinks, Leo and Chloe headed to a high-end restaurant for the most romantic part of their evening. Leo wasn't a huge fan of fancy dining. He always felt it was overpriced and underwhelming, more about the service and ambience than the food. Of course, he kept these thoughts to himself. He would never say them in front of Chloe. She had booked this table in advance, and on Valentine's Day, she clearly wanted to share a romantic atmosphere with him. Voicing his cynical opinions would only spoil the mood. When a relationship is new, both people are sensitive and highly attuned to the other's thoughts. In these situations, every word needs to be considered. A careless comment could shatter the atmosphere and tarnish the impression you're trying to make. As they reached the restaurant entrance, the graphics card in Leo's arms suddenly lost its appeal. This was the same restaurant he had taken Lily to last time. Chloe was smelling the roses he'd bought her. Seeing him stop abruptly, she looked up and asked, "What's wrong?" "Just looking at the name of this place," Leo said, his mind racing, feigning a thoughtful expression. "I think I've seen this place on TikTok. The reviews are supposed to be amazing." "They are. This place is super popular, especially today," Chloe said earnestly. "To get this reservation, my roommates and I used 4 phones and stayed up all night yesterday. We barely managed to snag a spot." "You into all that trouble, babe?" Leo said, touched. He brushed a hand through her hair. Thinking about his behavior today filled him with even more guilt. He silently vowed to make it up to both of them on future holidays. A hostess led them to their table. The restaurant's ambience was always good, but on a day like today, it was exceptionally romantic. The air was filled with a rich aroma. Soft candlelight flickered everywhere. Gentle music floated through the room, and every table was sprinkled with rose petals. Chloe loved it. As soon as they sat down, she eagerly called a server over to order. "Shit, are you kidding me?" Leo's entire body tensed. The server walking toward them was the exact same one who had taken his and Lily's order. He still remembered her face. "Good evening, I'll be taking your order," the server said, her voice faltering for a split second as she reached their table. She recognized him too. His letting Lily pay the bill last time had left a deep impression. The server shot a disbelieving glance at Chloe, then quickly masked her surprise, her face reverting to a professional smile. "A player, huh? Nothing new, but bringing 2 different equally gorgeous women here. That was something else. Damn it, what are the odds?" Leo cursed internally. His eyes darted to the foreign couple at the next table. After ordering, they had handed the server a $100 bill. It was a Western tipping custom, something you saw occasionally in high-end restaurants like this. Before, Leo would have scoffed at it. Now, he was a quick study. After they placed their order, Leo decisively pulled out his wallet, took out 5 $20 bills, and placed them on the server's tray. Thank you, sir," the server said, her voice filled with excitement. She gave a slight bow, a look of tacit understanding in her eyes. She knew this wasn't a tip. It was hush money. Holding the crisp $100, she left with a bright smile. Why did you give her so much? Chloe complained under her breath. A small tip like those guys would have been fine. You can't just throw money around like that. It's fine, I'm just happy, Leo said, relieved. He took Chloe's small hand in his, stroking it gently. Mostly, I'm just happy to be here with you. And this is my first time in such a classy restaurant. Hey, people are watching, Chloe whispered, shrinking back shyly as she glanced around at the other patrons. But she didn't pull her soft, pale hand away from his grasp. She had an outgoing personality, but she was still new to love and not quite comfortable with public displays of affection. What's it to them? Leo scoffed. I'm touching my girlfriend. It's not illegal. You smooth talker. I'm starting to doubt you were ever really a homebody, Chloe said, though her heart fluttered with sweetness. She loved his cheesy, roguish compliments. Of course I was. Before I was with you, I was home every day, either in bed or playing games. My step count never even hit double digits, Leo corrected her earnestly. My mom would come home and yell at me. You sit around so much, your phone probably thinks you're in a coma. Ta-ha! Chloe couldn't hold it in. Her unique, uninhibited laugh echoed through the quiet, romantic restaurant, drawing looks from the other diners. Even a foreign couple at the next table glanced over curiously. Sorry, Chloe whispered, wishing she could disappear into the floor. Was it that funny? Leo asked, amused. You sound like a goose. It's all your fault, Chloe grumbled, shooting him a playful glare. Babe, maybe I should come sit over there, Leo suggested. Chloe was on the booth side by the window, while he was in a chair facing the aisle. It's weird talking across the table like this, and the food isn't here yet. No way. If you sit over here, you'll just get handsy, Chloe flatly refused. Cuddling in such a formal, romantic place was already pushing her limits. Just eat your bread. All you ever think about is that one thing. You're so lewd, Chloe said, smiling as she picked up a piece of the pre-dinner bread and popped it into Leo's mouth. Are all guys like you? Always thinking with your dicks. You girls just don't get it, Leo retorted, chewing the milky bread. It's not thinking with our lower half. It just proves we have a gut feeling for things. Ugh, I hate you. It took Chloe a second to get the joke, and she almost burst out laughing again. She stuffed another piece of bread in his mouth. Why do I have a boyfriend like you? With Leo's constant stream of conversation, the dinner was not only romantic, but also lighthearted and fun. Chloe's first Valentine's Day was ending on a perfect note. This was the power of providing emotional value. From the moment he met up with Chloe, Leo had been skillfully using it to nurture their relationship. For guys without money or looks, learning how to provide emotional value to the women they liked was essential. It meant understanding her interests and tailoring your approach accordingly. It was the same principle as a rich guy using money to win a girl over. Once you got her emotions on your side, anything was possible. In short, when talking to a girl, if you can get her excited, control the flow of the conversation, and build a romantic atmosphere, getting together is almost a given. A word of caution, never, ever resort to simping. While that's a form of emotional value, girls aren't attracted to guys who throw themselves at their feet, though they won't necessarily reject the attention. It's a harsh reality. No one, man or woman, complains about having too many simps. After they finished eating, Leo called the server for the check. I'll get it, Chloe said, waving the server over as she approached with a bill and a card reader. She looked at Leo with a proud smile. I told my parents I was going out with you today, and my mom gave me a huge allowance. She told me to stop letting you pay for everything. Well, props to your parents, Leo said, not fighting her on it. Chloe's family was well off. There was no need to argue over a small bill like this. Getting too hung up on it would just make him seem insecure. This guy isn't even that handsome. Is it worth it? The server was officially impressed. To have two stunning women so willingly pay for him. This wasn't just a player. This was a king of the sea. After the server left, Chloe stood up. Wait here for a second. I need to use the restroom. Leo replied automatically. Go out the door, turn left. There's a hot pot place. The restroom is at the end of the hall. Okay, Chloe said, then paused, a confused look on her face. Huh, how do you know that so clearly? I thought you said you'd never been here before. Silly, didn't you see the directory sign when we were in the elevator? Leo answered instantly, deftly turning it around on her. In reality, he hadn't seen any sign. If Chloe paid even a little attention on her way out, she'd know it was a lie. But why would she question such a trivial detail? Unless he had already given her a reason to be suspicious, she would trust her boyfriend 100%. As she slid out of the booth, she affectionately pinched his ear and chided, Don't call me silly. Once outside the restaurant, she turned back and made a cute, goofy face at him before tucking a strand of hair behind her ear and walking cheerfully toward the restrooms. Leo watched her graceful figure through the window, as cool as a cucumber, and took a sip of his lemon water. They can't stump me. If it weren't for his prior arrangement with his landlady, Leo and Chloe's night would have proceeded just like any other couple's after a romantic dinner. But fate had other plans. And even if he hadn't made plans with Isabel, things wouldn't have progressed with Chloe anyway. She couldn't have cold drinks today. A bloody battle was out of the question. He drove to the waterfront spire, holding the bouquet of red roses in one hand and Chloe's in the other, intending to walk her to the lobby entrance. Leo, my parents said you should come up for a bit, Chloe said, looking up from her phone with hopeful eyes. Do you want to? I told you. I still have to write tonight, Leo said with a helpless expression. Some other time. I'll come visit your parents properly another day. Fine, Chloe mumbled, clearly disappointed. As they neared the entrance, she suddenly stopped and made a serious request. Leo, it's Valentine's Day. I want to hear you say it. Huh? Why? Leo scratched his head in confusion. We've already been to a hotel together. You still need me to confess my feelings? You don't know how I feel about you. You tricked me into going. Chloe retorted, her face flushing, but she remained stubborn. And you've never officially asked me to be your girlfriend, she added in a smaller voice. Besides, what kind of couple goes to a hotel first and then makes it official? Leo nodded. All right, fine. I'll text you when I get home. You? Chloe couldn't help but laugh. Who asked someone out over text? Good point, Leo mused, then said without thinking. Okay, I'll message you on Discord later. Haha, you're awful. Chloe laughed, falling into his arms and nuzzling against him. Just say it, Leo. I just want to hear you say you like me. It's not that hard. Leo gently stroked her back. We're right at your building's entrance. What if someone you know sees us? Won't you be embarrassed? So just say it quickly, Chloe said, her face tilted up in anticipation. Just say you like me, and then I'll say yes. It's that simple. Leo chuckled. If they both already knew how the other felt, was it really necessary to say it out loud? It felt like they were playing house. Of course, that was just his cynical side talking. He knew Chloe wanted a sense of ceremony, of security. She was a romantic at heart. And since he had already confessed to Lily, he couldn't neglect Chloe. He had to treat them both equally. So Leo cleared his throat and spoke with sincere, deep affection. All right, my elf princess. This goblin likes you. Will you be my girlfriend? I'll cherish you for the rest of my life. MHM, yes. Chloe nodded eagerly, the joy practically overflowing from her eyes. Ding. Chloe Miller's affinity has increased by 5 points. Current affinity, 57. Please continue your efforts. The next moment, Chloe wrapped her arms around Leo's waist, closed her eyes, and leaned in, her intention unmistakable. Leo didn't hesitate. He raised a bouquet of roses to shield their faces from view and pressed his lips to hers in a deep, lingering kiss. In moments of such heightened romantic tension, girls were often driven by emotion and impulse. Kissing on the street was nothing. He could have probably convinced her to go to a hotel with little effort. I'm home, Chloe announced cheerfully after kissing Leo goodbye. She walked into her family's apartment, holding the large bouquet of roses. Don Miller, who had been waiting anxiously in the living room, immediately came to greet her. Seeing his daughter, looking even happier than when she left, he felt a wave of relief. It was Valentine's Day, and he had been reluctant to let her go out with Leo, worried she might be a lamb walking into a wolf's den. Don genuinely liked the kid. Leo was respectful, knew how to take care of his daughter, and was financially stable. Most importantly, Chloe was crazy about him. Don had no reason to stand in their way. But Chloe was still in college. He was worried they might get carried away and create a grandchild he wasn't ready for. From the looks of it, though, they hadn't reached that stage yet. After some mental calculation, Leo earned